All right, good morning. Happy Tuesday. Welcome to Victory Tuesday.
Yes.
Yeah, congratulations.
Thank you.
All right, to Hale and back last night. Look at you, very excited.
He's here.
Are you back in on your team?
Of course I am.
Okay.
After yesterday.
I was just checking. You have a chance to be 7-2 when you go to Minnesota in November.
I know. This season, I can't believe I'm saying this.
It's okay.
It might come down to the 2 games against Green Bay in December. I'm already looking at December.
Packers.
No, whoa.
They're my Super Bowl team.
Did you place a bet on them? Do
No,
you have money?
No.
Okay. So would you rather be right than me be incredibly happy?
I'd rather be right.
Yeah. Because then you'd be happy if you're right.
Yeah.
I would think.
Exactly. Okay. I don't want to share in your misery, but congratulations last night.
Just sing it with me. We are the Bears shuffling down.
Such disrespect to the 85 Bears.
That's what you missed 5 minutes ago.
Yeah.
I was just happy this time. I was
Wow.
like, hey, I was preparing to co-host for a couple
Wow.
hours because the Bears won a Monday night game.
I'm Speedy Wilk, and I'm world class. I love to run, but I love to catch a pass.
Such disrespect going on to the 85 Bears.
Why is it disrespect? I'm singing their
Why don't you
song.
just embrace the 25 Bears, who weirdly have won back-to-back 25-24 games?
Yes.
Is that I know that score has happened before in the NFL, but there cannot be a long list of teams that have won back-to-back games by that score.
Okay, so
I remember the
That's
Colts
just-
beating the
have you-
Cowboys
That's
in
a weird
96.
score, but congratulations.
Yeah.
That's 2 really good wins.
Hell
have
yes.
you heard about this controversy with scoregami?
That the Twitter handle is broken.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's scoregami is one of the great thing. I love scoregami. I thought it was really
Yeah.
cool. It's where they go, oh, hey, this is the first time the score has ever happened in the NFL. It's now Jake Marsh had to make like a statement. This media guy who loves it. If they were on their peak, if they were great, we would find out if anybody not only has ever won back-to-back games, 25-24, has anyone, like, how many times has it happened where a team wins games back-to-back by the same score?
I've only seen it once. Jim Harbaugh and the Colts winning in Texas Stadium against the Cowboys in 96. And 25-24. The Cowboys blew a 21-6 lead.
Wow. But I'm talking about like
back-to-back,
never same exact score, like 20, even like 28-20. You know,
how many that might be more common than you think.
I would love to.
Weird
know
scores.
that.
Okay, so let's be honest here.
Yeah.
Because you are a fan. You are very much a fan of the Bears. I think that's probably your most popular team next to Northwestern basketball.
That's not true.
You thought he was going to miss it, didn't you?
1,000,000%.
Yeah.
1,000,000%.
You were prepared. Yeah.
I was crisscross applesauce in front of the TV. I told somebody, I was like, but because you have to recognize the totality of the night, right? That was the most frustrating viewing experience of my entire life.
Why?
Okay. Because for a couple of reasons.
I kind of liked Buck and Aikman.
So
they broke down the fumble really well.
So number one, the penalties, like all night.
Oh, now the officiating was one. Yeah, you have every right to complain
from the get-go. Like I'm not and you know this, I'm not a blame the refs guy. Okay. I've never been I don't like being that guy.
I'll vouch for you. I have a friend like that.
But it was ticky-tack all night. There were calls that, like, people get really upset about the illegal formation, which was an absolute joke. But the play before they scored the touchdown, it was a 3rd and 6. Bears got off the field, and they called a face mask where it just like touched his head, and it didn't even like affect the play.
Wait, and the Chiefs weren't involved? This is what they tell me on Twitter.
And then both roughing the passers were absolutely disgusting. Even the one from Sweat where he like put his hand down. It was just, and then the guy, the Loveland PI that caused them to like kick the first field goal. It was a mess. It was an absolute mess. So that was pissing me off the entire night. And then Aikman. What the hell, man?
I thought they were really good.
They were awful.
They're always good.
They were terrible.
No, I think you were wrong. I think you were watching the wrong game. I think you were watching Chris Fowler.
No.
Oof.
Aikman was the whole night was just a Caleb hater. You would have thought that Troy Aikman had a perfect passer rating his entire career.
He's pretty damn good.
So you wanted Collinsworth doing the game last night so he could glaze.
Yes. That's what I wanted.
You wanted Hub Arkish up there.
Caleb would complete a pass. Okay. And he would go, well, he didn't lead him, Joe. He wasn't leading him. He completed it. All right.
Don't worry. They'll blow it in the night.
Or he's
held to a different standard, and he should be. He was the first overall pick last year.
He had a great throw. I think it was like a little post slot, and he throws it, and it was the longest completion he had up to that point. And what does Aikman say? Well, he could have thrown that earlier, Joe. Come on, man. Just
sounds like me. I have no problem.
I thought on the final drive they were very complimentary of Caleb.
That's fine, but the 57 minutes before that, it was incredible. And by the way, they had to be.
That's their job. He's a quarterback
because he was great.
He wasn't kind to Daniels.
I don't think he was nearly as as critical on Daniels as he was on Caleb.
I'm sure if you asked a Washington fan, they'd feel different. I think he's like that way with quarterbacks that don't play at like an elite level. Because he's a quarterback. He was a perfectionist. I don't want Collinsworth. I want Aikman to tell me the truth.
But your quarterback.
It doesn't have anything to do with my quarterback.
I don't want. I think
Troy will get on him.
And trust me, he was. Hey, last Monday, as good as Mahomes was, there were times where Troy cranked it up.
When a quarterback who gets talked about as negatively and as often as Caleb Williams does
is
just playing real. Caleb Williams gets talked about all the time, and most of the time it's an incredibly negative way. And when he's playing on prime time,
you talk about him in a negative way.
But I do. But here's the thing:
when he's playing well, we're seeing change right in front of our own eyes.
When he's playing well,
how come you're not wearing your 18 jersey?
Yeah, I wanted you all dolled up today.
When he's playing well on prime time and he's completing passes, he's passing for over 250 yards, and the offense is looking really, really well. The last thing I want to hear is, well, he's not leading the receivers, and he threw that one late, and he didn't make the read. Save that for your podcast, okay? What I want to hear, when my quarterback, who has been under so much scrutiny, he's finally playing well, is, hey, look at this offense. This offense looks pretty good. Oh, he's completing passes. There are a couple opportunities that he missed. So you got to clean that up. And, this is real progress for this Bears team. That's what I want to hear. I don't want to hear every single play. Oh, he's not good enough, or that wasn't good enough, or he's got to clean up this, or he's got to clean up that. Okay?
So when the pass to Adunze or the one in the flat, yeah, okay. But you won a football game.
I did.
You have won 3 in a row, which does not happen very often with the Bears. But so I guess when I was doing the show with Nick, and Nick is a huge Bears fan.
Yeah.
Okay. And the Bears and the Huskers, that fandom, which you share,
there were some rough Mondays here.
They were running parallel, like close losses, bad play. Everybody reminds you of the 90s. Everybody reminds you of 85. You have firings, you have bad coaches.
Oh.
You have bad Mondays. You have bad Sundays and you have bad Mondays. And I used to think, man, I feel for you, because there's a lot of people that I know that share that crossover just because you live in the Midwest.
We'll talk to one later.
The Bears were in the 80s, and they were popular probably when you were born and growing up and learning how to be a fan. So you became a Bears fan. So he'd always like, it was like rough. And I'm like, you know what? Yeah, okay, I can see it. Now I can definitely see it, because here's why I say this. And I don't know if this is you.
Okay.
You learn, like watching the Bears the last 2 weeks, the game against the Raiders, and then the game last night against the Washington football team. I don't know about calling them the Commanders anymore.
I like commies.
No, I don't like the commies, because I don't like commies.
Okay,
we don't need commies.
We don't need commies.
Okay, we don't need commies.
No, we don't.
Is you gradually learn how to win. So what have we been talking about for Nebraska the last couple of weeks? You gradually know how to win. So the Bears gradually know how to win. Plus, you have a quarterback that is like the hope, the savior, and you run through the gamut of the good, the bad, the ugly. So we do that with Dylan, and you do that with Caleb. So there might not be a better pairing, because I can't. My chiefdom and the Huskerdom do not match.
No, not at all.
Okay, but the Bears and the Husker fandom,
perfect.
It runs simultaneously, and you're like, yeah, because Matt Rule, Ben Johnson, DeAndre Swift, Emmett Johnson. See where I'm going here?
It is wild how much these teams have mirrored each other, dating back to 2023. Okay, like 2023, bad quarterback play. Right, you're like, what the hell's going on? This sucks. This is not enjoyable. This team should be better if the quarterback was better. 2024, you get your number 1 overall pick. You get your top quarterback. You're really, really excited heading into the year. You get a really good start to both seasons, and you're thinking, hey, we've turned the corner already. And then you find out, okay, they're a young quarterback for a reason. And then heading into this year, you have Dana, paired up with Dylan, and you're like, all right, we got the OC, we got the parent.
Yeah.
You have Caleb paired up with Ben Johnson. You're like, all right, we got the parent, we got the head coach. And then even Gary, even down to the granular of this season, what are like the Huskers' biggest problems? The D line and the run game. Okay. Like in the offensive line. That's the same thing with the Bears.
Yeah.
The same exact
Well, and
thing.
you also catch a break because you probably would have slept in this morning if they don't fumble at midfield and you get the ball back.
Yeah, but it was the miss. With Caleb, he had to catch that high snap. It's absolutely embarrassing as a quarterback. You gotta catch that high snap. But with Jaden, it's the miss, guy. It was raining. The conditions weren't great. You just got it. It happens. It happens.
That's
guys.
a him problem. You take the win.
It happens.
Hey, one thing about both quarterbacks, and it seems like it's taken Daniels longer to get going during the course of a game. Like he has slow starts. Is skinny thighs have short lives.
Nice.
His thighs are so small for a quarterback.
It is.
Like there's a lot to like about both of those quarterbacks.
Thicker better.
But I don't know. Like both of them are, they both kind of play a little bit differently. They sometimes make it so hard playing quarterback in the NFL, which is not easy to begin with. But then they both make it look like really smooth.
Yeah. Well, so with Daniels, there were so many times where we had him in the backfield and he just got away and he ended up, rushing for 8, 9, 10 yards. And I was thinking a little bit because, we've had these conversations before with Dylan of like, let him rip, let him be a gunslinger. Yeah. Like with Jaden, I'm like, I feel like he's a little condensed. Like he's a little like kept in the pocket. Like he's kept like within.
Which quarterback would you take? Which quarterback?
Not
just based off of last night. Which quarterback would you take?
I'll take my quarterback.
Okay. You pause there for a bit.
No, I think it's a thing that you have to think of because Jaden Daniels was absolutely incredible last year and went to an NFC championship game. But I think that with my head coach and Caleb's abilities, like if Caleb, now in all seriousness, like I do think what some of Aikman was saying wasn't off base at all.
There we go.
I just prefer not to hear it in the moment when we're playing a football game.
We all have blinders on our ears.
Yes, 1,000,000%. So I do think though with Caleb's like arm strength and like just his talent, things that he has, he actually really does work with Ben Johnson. He just has to be a little bit more accurate. So that's why I would take Caleb.
Well, congratulations. Yeah. You have a really good chance of being 7-2 because
15-2
because of that defense.
Yeah.
I mean, that defense makes plays. You have a chance to be 7-2 going to Minnesota for the revenge game. Embrace it. Go all in.
I think it was really funny. I thought the schedule was going to be very, very difficult this year. It turns out that we got some breaks. Schedule's very nice. Yeah. The whole secondary is now healthy, which is crazy.
I don't think Chiefs Super Bowl.
I don't think that's been the case since last year against Panthers, the Carolina Panthers, which was like the last game we won before we went on that like 10-game losing streak. I did tell you though, I was like, Jaquan Brisker is going to give up a long touchdown to Luke McCaffrey in the slot because he's going to be coming down because he's basically going to be playing linebacker. He did, but they persevered. It's incredible, Gary, when like things aren't going your way and the calls aren't going your way and like you miss a kick and the momentum is swinging and you're on the road and your team just like digs down and finds a way to win a football game.
I remember those days.
See, that's why Saturdays, Sundays, or Mondays are very similar with the fandom that you share.
I haven't experienced that in football in maybe a decade, and I had it twice in 2 days or 3 days. It was absolutely incredible.
Yeah, because your Cats won too.
Mm-hmm. Hell yeah.
Well, I mean,
they got a coach fired.
They've been doing that actually for a couple of years before that.
Sam McEwen, a Bear fan, going to join us coming up at 7:30.
That's all you guys are going to talk about too. 20 minutes of Bears.
No, we're going to talk about Sam had a couple of good questions in a to make the head coach uncomfortable. Very awkward yesterday. But Sam will join us coming up at 7:30. Brian Christopherson and Andy Kendall will join us ahead of Nebraska and Minnesota. Friday night slate's kind of interesting because not only does Nebraska and Minnesota play on Big Fox, but on ESPN2, sneaky game, Louisville and Miami.
Oh, wow.
Playing that game. They kick off an hour earlier. So that's the lineup brought to you by the Rooferys at John Higgins Weather Guard. So let's talk about yesterday. I thought it was exactly how I thought it would go yesterday with Matt Rule and his weekly press conference. Just first of all, everybody be prepared. And it's really, I don't think it's worth giving every single day.
No.
Until there's something. Other shows may choose to do that, and that's their prerogative. It's going to be a long 2 months. Just prepare yourself for that.
Mm-hmm.
But in terms of like beating the without information and just speculating,
yeah,
I think you just beat it into the ground. But yesterday, I thought, and he knew it was coming, and he didn't like talking about it.
No.
But he gave a good answer. He didn't lie. He could still leave. I thought he used that platform yesterday with now an opening. And remember, here's the thing. He didn't create this attention.
No.
It was created by Penn State. So this is the Penn State athletic director firing his football coach and then connect the dots to Rule. So Rule didn't create this, but he addressed it. And I thought he addressed it really, really well. He gave a good answer. He didn't lie.
Yeah.
He could still leave. He's very, very smart. The one thing that we've known about Rule is that he's a businessman. Okay. You're the head football coach. You run a Fortune 500 company.
Yes.
So you're a businessman, and he's been in the business of getting hired and fired and leaving for a job and negotiating and all of that kind of stuff. And he's got a really good agent. So he knows that this is how the script is. You do not box yourself in.
Sure.
You play leverage. And I have this platform, and I almost saw it while he was answering Sam's first question. Ooh, this is something I've been saying for a while. And y'all kind of listen, but then you move on to the next thing. I'm going to use this platform again to give my comments about spending money that I've been giving for the last year and a half. So he does that yesterday, and he talks about the commitment, and he talks about the money needed and all of that. So he did a really good job of weaving in the Penn State to this is what Nebraska can be, and this is what I need to get to at Nebraska. So he's either going to leave.
Yeah.
Still don't think so, because I can say I love Penn State, but what if Penn State doesn't love me? Okay, we've all been in those relationships. Yeah. That's the bottom line.
1,000,000%.
I love Penn State, but what if Penn State doesn't love me? He will use this to try and see if Nebraska football program, finances, athletic program can go to the next level. So whether Matt Rule is here or not, I believe over the next 2 months, the Nebraska football job will be better structurally, financially than it is currently because of what happened at Penn State. So thank you, Penn State. Regardless of who's in the power chair, I think Rule will use this to take it to the next level to see if you can get there.
Yeah.
Now, if you can't get there, that opens up a whole nother discussion. But I was okay with what he did yesterday, because what did you want him to say?
Oh, right. Yeah.
The day after they fire the head coach at Penn State, and people are like, well, I wonder if he's been offered.
How'd you know?
Okay. Do you think Pat Kraft called him and said, hey, we're going to fire James Franklin? You in?
Hell yes.
No.
Let me know when it's done.
Well, it's funny.
Of course not.
At one point he said in the presser, he goes, nothing's happened. He was like, nothing's happened. Penn State which is not wrong. Penn State just fired their coach. Yeah. This is all just stem from.
He's like I got a Friday game.
Connecting the dots. He said in the presser, and it was a nice little sly comment where he's like, he's like, to me, this happened to me all the time. When I was at Temple, when I was at Baylor, like, we're written well. People are calling my phone. Maybe this hasn't happened here specifically in quite a while. But for me personally, it's happened plenty of times. And I think that you could tell that when it comes to these situations, he's kind of a pro's pro, because what does he do? He doesn't say, I'm never leaving Nebraska.
Yeah,
but
he didn't lie. He didn't exactly say no.
He also doesn't disparage. He obviously acknowledges like the connections he has to Penn State, and then like the just nosedive right into leverage, right into
smart. Look at. Yeah. I'm sure Manny Diaz, because he was asked about it yesterday. Rhett Lashley was asked about when the Arkansas job came open. These guys are businessmen. All right. They understand. They have agents. They have and they have leverage. Whether there's no chance that they would ever leave or even be offered the job, you're going to use this opportunity to enhance your football program. And I actually think it's great for Nebraska. Okay. I think this is the moment where Rule's been talking about it. And we kind of listen, and we're like, now they're 5-1, and you can kind of see it. People, I think, are still, and there's donor fatigue, but people are still like, But at 5-1, this comes up, and you use that platform to say, this is what we need to go to the next level. I've been telling you about $30 and $40 million rosters. Here's our opportunity.
It'll be
that was a good discussion yesterday that made him very uncomfortable.
So, he was.
Yeah, he doesn't want to talk about it.
No, the fourth question I couldn't tell who the reporter was by their voice, but when they go, we're kind of talking about this because this is your like alma mater, and he kind of like took a deep breath, and then he said, "I'm trying to be as respectful as I possibly can," and then even on the third question, he was like, these are my guys, I want to rock. You bring up a good point with he said this before, and he's talked about money before, and we haven't really bought into it, and we didn't pay a whole lot of attention to it. And I think it's because we don't, Nebraska doesn't have like a Cody Campbell. Nebraska doesn't have a Larry Ellison. Nebraska doesn't have one of those mega donors. And so when you hear your head coach going, they're spending a lot of money, maybe we need to spend more money, you start to think, well, is that even viable? Like, is that like, does Nebraska even have the donors or resources to give more money than what they're already giving? I'm very curious as to, will this be a big enough kick in the ass to the people who are making decisions or who have the ability to get donors to give more money or who can raise more money? Like, will a cloud of Penn State potentially offering Matt Rule a job be enough to get him that $35-40 million?
I think regardless of the Penn State cloud or not, remember, we're a state of 1.9 million. A lot of people have been tapped. They have to find more people that are not named the Peds that write checks. That's the thing. And it's been that way before Penn State fired the coach. And it's also been, he also did something. He was good yesterday.
Yeah.
But his body language was bad. But if you listen closely to his message, he also reminded everyone of things that we already know. That Nebraska, since a long time ago, even with an influx of cash being in the Big Ten, they are rather frugal when it comes to the athletic department in terms of spending. And so he wisely used this moment just to reiterate some points. And also, he did something that I know what he was getting at, but I don't think this is going to go well on the campus. He brought up the stadium and how the athletic department is separate from the university, because it is ridiculous. And I know there are optics involved. It is ridiculous that this project has now drug its feet for a couple of years now. And he went there we're not attached to the university. We're separate, blah, 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 blah. And I like,
he brought up
I see what you're doing.
He kind of mentioned, I was going to say this, he mentioned the budget cuts a little bit.
They have to get that thing going.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just ridiculous. Now, you want to be into some conspiracy here and connect dots and go, oh my gosh, and fret for 2 months. You know the backstory of the new interim coach at Penn State, correct?
I don't know.
So Terry Smith actually was hired by Matt Rule on his first staff at Temple. So he was his wide receiver coach in 2013. Yeah. And then in 2014, Penn State hired Terry Smith away, and he's been at Penn State ever since.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's incredible. I did not know that backstory. That's funny. Yeah. I love that you brought up he dropped that there were a couple of times where he just said kind of one-liners and a couple of words, and it's like, if you've been tuned in, your kind of antenna goes up, and he didn't like dive into it. But when he goes, I don't care about the optics, like the athletic department is a separate entity from the campus. That was a sentence. That was like a hey now. That was like an okay.
He hadn't gone there before.
No,
but the stadium project, which is revenue, is another avenue to show that you're a real football program and you're in it to win it. And for him to bring that up, and then to bring the university in, acknowledging, we got some cuts. We got $28 million they got to cut on campus, but the stadium project was supposed to be announced this fall. Now it's been pushed back to the first part of 26. There was a businessman and a football coach talking yesterday.
Back to the leverage. Like you said, there's got to be more than just the Peds who are funding the football
Put
team.
Coke in the stadium, get Buffett back.
Well, so okay, like my question is, and this isn't necessary. You can't answer this. I don't think anyone can really answer this. But it's like, what avenues and what streams is Nebraska going to be taking now to potentially give him what he wants or what he's advocating for that they haven't already done?
Well, the stadium is the big thing.
Yeah,
because there is additional revenue that can be made off the stadium. So you're still looking a couple of years down the road. There's also the part of this. There's also, this is on rule. If you want more investment in the program, win on the football field. Okay. So far, 5-1.
Yeah.
Okay. Because as they navigate the rest of the season now through the first half, there might be some people that have mothballs flying out of their checkbook that all of a sudden are like, okay, I can see this. I'm not just throwing money away.
Sure.
Let's have a discussion. So it kind of goes hand in hand. But I think with what Rule has been saying for about a year now, yesterday was the day to just hammer it home because he has a ton of leverage right now. And that's okay to have. I mean, we'd all love to be in a point in our life, and some of us have, where you do have leverage, that you are wanted by a couple of different entities, and you're going to use it to help yourself. And, you decide what is best for you and what is best for the family. And I mean, if he leaves Nebraska and goes to his dream job, and again, I can love Penn State, but Penn State's got to love me back.
Mm-hmm.
Are we going to blame his wife? I say that a little sarcastically, but
I mean, I know how this goes.
She's the reason.
Sure. Well, here's another thing too. Like, I was thinking about this and like what we were going to talk about and whatnot. Like, Nebraska's got a lot of things going for him in terms of like getting Matt Rule to potentially stay and wanting him to continue to be the head coach. But it's like when you're
talking
be
offered,
when you're talking about all of this, right? Nebraska can't make Matt Rule an alumni. They can't make him a part of the 1993 team. They can't make him go back in time and meet his wife at Nebraska. It's just like the situation is kind of one of those things where it's just like everything gets snowballed into what it is snowballed, and some of the things you just can't control. You just can't control.
All right, we'll and people have some thoughts on this. I got a couple other things that stood out from what was said yesterday. Plus, we'll talk about Nebraska, Minnesota. He said, he said one thing yesterday. How is pink and white going to go together? Because both teams are going to have a shade of pink, whether it be with the coaches on the sidelines because they're going to breast cancer awareness. And now Nebraska's wearing all white.
Oh. What do you mean? Pink and white go great together.
Surrender white.
That's a good combo. What do you want to have them a pink end on the helmet?
I like your marketing idea, not for the helmet, but you could make some use.
Maybe a pink stripe.
What if they came out with a pink end? How would people feel about that?
I would feel great about it.
402-951-1620.
What's the final?
That is the Prairie Flower.
That's the truth. They win 58-7.
Totally right, Jimmy.
See the uniform, and you always care about what's in the uniform.
Yeah.
I don't know of any other place in the country that we get so tied into a knot about uniforms. Maybe Oregon, because they have so many.
Sure.
But these discussions are always fascinating. I love Nebraska's uniform when it's the normal red on white,
it's
and
iconic,
the white jersey with the red breeches. But I think I know what he's doing with them wearing all white up there, and it has nothing to do with the last time they wore all white in Minnesota, they won. Terrell Newby had a monster day in 15.
I remember that.
I think there's something else. There's more of a subtle thing about him wearing white that he's doing to the fan base. That I'll get into a little bit later. But they are wearing all white against Minnesota. You can always email us into the Equitable Bank inbox, Gary or Matt at 1620thezone.com, or on X or Twitter, whatever you'd like to call it today, at Gary Sharp 1620, at Matt McMedia. So McMedia? Yeah, McMedia. That's what I thought. Okay. Eric, stay right there. We got to take a quick break. We'll come back. Sam McEwen in less than an hour as Nebraska gets ready to try and become bowl eligible against a team that really has no major wins this year.
No.
I know I just jinxed it, but they have not really any major wins.
It'll be a damn good game.
It always is.
I mean, yeah.
It always is. And we get Tim Brando.
Yeah.
On the Big Fox. Third-person guy will be doing the game for Fox.
The only two times that I've gotten mad at announcers was yesterday and the game that he did a couple of weeks ago.
He's back. And we're back after this. All right, last night in baseball, Blake Snellzilla, boy, Tampa Bay, Kevin Cash. How do you let Blake Snell get away? The Dodgers win, and the Mariners are up 2-0. The road teams are 3-0 in the LCS, and we had one of the most remarkable double plays last night, 8-6-2 if you were scoring at home. And if you're scoring at home, congratulations. That happened in the Brewer-Dodger game last night. Dodgers and the Brewers tonight. Fly that L, baby. Bases loaded, bottom of the ninth. Couldn't have happened to a better organization. All right, we start the morning with Eric on the Prairie Flower Casino Zone hotline. Good morning, E.
Hey, good morning, guys. Hey, I got a couple things for you. So you guys kind of already hit on it with the roster and money and everything. But one thing we've kind of always said about Nebraska is the money's there, but it's a fiscally conservative state. So it's more of a show me type deal. So that's why I think this game is huge. They got to just keep, if the wins come, the money comes. So the first one there.
Mm-hmm.
And then the second, they got to check off a huge box, in my opinion. They already checked off the one score deal. But maybe we throw out the bat signal to Stu Manji on Twitter, where when we crack the top 25, what is the win-loss record after the week after we get into the top 25? Because it seems like the past few years, whenever we have got into the top 25, we kind of slip up. So I'm just kind of
8-6 since 16E. They're 8-6 when ranked, and 3 of those 6 losses have been to unranked teams.
Yep. So I mean, I think it's just maintaining momentum. It is going to be huge, and maintain that top 25 ranking. And the more you win, the more the money comes in, and I think everything will kind of take care of itself. So just kind of that's kind of where I sit with it. I'm just kind of curious what you think. Thanks.
Eric, thanks for the phone call.
I think it's a really good point, because you talked about donor fatigue, and I think the easiest way to have donor fatigue is if you don't win. If you're a donor and you've given all this money and they go ahead and they're losing, they're kind of sitting there being like, why the hell does it matter if I'm giving money, right? I don't give money, they lose. I give money, they still lose. Like, now, you want to cure donor fatigue? You keep winning. And you go to the playoff and you get rewarded and you reap benefits and you enjoy yourself. And then you're like, okay, I enjoy this. I'll keep giving money to them because they actually use my money and be effective with it. I think Eric's totally spot on.
I think there's another part of the question about Nebraska and finances and supporting, and is, where is that money?
Yes.
Like, because majority of the people that have money that are attached to Nebraska have already been tapped. Where is the next? So that's why the stadium project is so much, instead of relying on donors.
Yeah.
Where again, your base is a little bit smaller than others that you compete against in the Big Ten, is stadium project, where you can make revenue off that.
Yeah.
And that's not picking up the phone. That's having butts and seats and using your stadium year round. So that's why that part is so important. Back to something he said about how important Friday night is, because this is so. Yesterday, this was my observation. Remember, Rule didn't create this. Rule did not search this out. This was, I love Penn State. Okay.
Yeah.
Is the attitude towards him. So Saturday, post-game, attitude was great.
Yeah.
Matt Rule, year number 3, we're cooking with peanut oil. And then this unfolds. And then yesterday, it was kind of a mixed reaction, the way he responded. Again, I think it was really good. I think he did exactly what he should have done, exactly what most coaches are doing right now, because Manny Diaz was asked the same thing at Duke. I watched Rhett Lashley after Pittman got fired, because people were like, you're going to go to Arkansas.
Sure.
And he said all the right things. Nobody's going to put themselves in a box. But one thing that I've noticed is, after his press conference, is then the reaction to Rule was mixed. How come he didn't say he's staying? How come he didn't say he is staying? Okay. We'll get to the football game on Friday, and people will be like, here we go.
Yeah.
But you watch. I guarantee you and Josh are hosting Big Red Overreaction, correct?
We are.
So if Nebraska happens to lose and it looks like they're distracted,
buckle up.
Matt Rule is going to get killed. Okay, Matt Rule will get crucified by the fan base if Nebraska plays on Friday night, and if they lose, and they lose because they football reasons. Okay, they Minnesota was better. We get it. There are winners and losers. But if Nebraska looks like they're distracted and they're sloppy and they're doing things they haven't done in the previous 6 games, you're going to go, oh, this is a distraction. He will get crucified. I guarantee it. I believe, I said this yesterday, I believe their culture is strong enough that he addressed it with the team on Sunday and they heard what he said yesterday, and they're not going to have all of a sudden a season tank. Now, they're going to have to play well on Friday night, regardless if their coach is being mentioned for a job thousands of miles away.
Sure. Well, Gary, I think even if they just lose, I don't even think they need to look distracted. I don't even think they need to take stupid penalties and do dumb things. I think if they just lose in general.
No, I don't think so.
You don't think so?
No, because there are winners and losers. And if you just lose because of football reasons and somebody made a better play than you did and they won the football game, tip your hat, get on the plane and come back home and figure out a way to get to 6-2. But if you are making mistakes that you don't normally make and you look like, man, did you guys even read the game plan this week? Then the knives are out. I don't think that'll be the case, but I'm just presenting that scenario. I'm preparing you for what you could encounter at 10 o'clock on Friday night if that's the case.
Okay, but if they do make those mistakes and they are very sloppy and they do all those things that they haven't done, I do think you could maybe convey that. Okay, why? Like you're looking for why? Like why did that happen? Why were they sloppy?
All of a sudden they look different.
They're
making more mistakes than they have normally made in the first 6 games. Yeah, you could go, okay.
Maybe it is for sure. Yeah. But I think if they just lose in general to Minnesota, I think there will be people who would say,
oh, definitely.
There will be distracted.
But it might be I don't know. That would be a tough pull to put those two together. If they just lose a football game because you know what, Jake Lindsey they had the ball last and they made a play ahead of Dylan Raiola.
I think though, because I think it would be completely unfair if they just lost for football reasons and then people started talking about them being distracted. Because this is, like you've mentioned correctly over and over again, this is not Matt Rule creating this, okay? It's not Matt Rule's fault he was born in the East Coast, okay? It's not his fault that 30 years ago he went to a school, loves that school, coaches another school. While he's coaching that other school, that job opens up. That's not his fault. Now, if they do look distracted, right, and they make those sloppy mistakes and they do all those things, I don't think you could say, oh, it's Rule's fault for not shutting this down at the press conference, and it's Rule's fault for not, making sure that he's committed to Nebraska and everybody knows he's committed to Nebraska. It would be kind of just, all right, maybe the culture wasn't as strong as we first perceived or that we thought it was.
You think part of this discussion about money and, because Rule reiterates 30 to 40 million.
Yeah.
What do you think his discussions are with Joey McGuire, where money can buy you happiness? And he talks to one of his best friends in the business at Texas Tech.
I think I think his conversations are like, man, I wish I had what you had. like seriously.
Does Cody ever been to Nebraska?
Does anybody look at Joey McGuire and Texas Tech and think, no, I don't want to have what that guy has? Like, no, I don't want to have the super mega donor that loves my school that's going to give me everything I want.
And not just football. He's funding everything.
Yeah. I think immediately those jobs that have those super donors, like a Larry Ellison and a Cody Campbell and a Booth and all those guys give a ton of money, those jobs immediately become on the forefront of the jobs you want to have.
I mean, everybody talks to each other. They share ideas. Money buys happiness. Look at Texas Tech. Texas Tech and Lubbock could be hosting a playoff game.
Yeah.
Texas Tech football. All right. Indiana. Now, money buys happiness. Smart money, investing money.
Yes.
Mark Cuban buys happiness at IU.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's one of those things.
So I think it's not only the 2 months of speculation about a job that is open where I love Penn State.
Yeah. It's also
it's 2 months of money, and where's it going to come from? All right, Sam McEwen's coming up in the next hour. Brian Christopherson and Andy Kendi as well on this Tuesday morning ahead of Nebraska, Minnesota. Friday night. Tim Brando on the call.
Is that going to be the bit the entire week? Just
how do you do?
Brando is going to be announcing. It's fine. I'll just, I might sync up the TV. I might put on Kyle.
Think about Tim Brando. This is, and he's hanging on. He's at the end of his career. Okay. He's Mr. Third Person guy. I really liked Tim Brando's old talk show. So it was on CBS Sports Network. I really liked it. He had a great crew of people that with him. I think he misses his talk show, so he uses his games to basically have his talk show to share opinions.
It wasn't as bad as I'm giving off, like the Michigan State game. There were just moments where I was very annoyed. And yeah, when he started talking about Larry the Cable Guy's wife in the fourth quarter, while Nebraska is like,
well, it was a close game.
Yeah. And it's like, all right, you got to like take this momentum. Yeah, I got very annoyed.
At least he likes GBR.
See, here's what'll be like Tim in particular doing this game. He's got a very, very strong opinion on the $50 million for Franklin and an opinion on Rule. And I hope that doesn't dominate the telecast, but I know that it will. So just plan accordingly, sync up the radio with the TV and
go to the game.
Or go to the game. That's right.
What do you say, 6 hours?
Oh, 5.5. 5.5. Put the hammer down. Yeah. You know what?
Weather's good.
The flights on Delta on Friday morning, there are Friday period. There aren't a lot of seats available, but you could get one or two. Not at a bad price. Land at MSP, take the train, and it drops you off right behind one of the end zones at the stadium.
Is it a pretty drive from Nebraska up to Minnesota?
No.
It's a drive.
Okay.
No.
I just thought I'd ask.
From Omaha to Des Moines, and then Des Moines till you get to about Lakeville.
Okay.
Yeah, there ain't much.
Okay.
Yeah.
I always love the drive from Illinois to Minnesota. Beautiful drive.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
As long as there's no snow, everything's good.
Yeah. All right. Sammy Mack coming up at the bottom of the hour. We'll talk both things that were talked about yesterday when he joins us on 1620 The Zone. All right, welcome in hour number 2. Do you think if you are, I should have asked this question before I say it out loud. Do you think if you are half Canadian and half American, or you're married to a Canadian, that it is like yesterday?
You're right up my alley here.
And the last Thursday in November are great days, that you celebrate Thanksgiving twice?
There's a
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, there was yesterday.
We forgot to celebrate
Thanksgiving
it
in
because of the
Canada.
rule stuff.
So did you happen to watch the Seattle-Toronto game?
I had it on, but I didn't have the volume on or anything.
So, but you saw what they were doing in the booth.
No, I didn't.
How about Joe Davis's immaculate cutting skills?
So Joe Davis and John Smoltz, they delivered him a turkey.
Oh,
because yesterday was Thanksgiving Day in Canada. Mm-hmm. So I'm thinking that if you have some Canadian in you, you get to celebrate Thanksgiving twice. And how awesome would that be? But Joe Davis, who before he kind of blew up, he used to go on TikTok and he would do cooking videos.
Oh, really?
So he would do.
Oh, that's right.
He would, because he had a green egg.
Okay.
And so he would smoke stuff and then he'd walk you through the process.
He really is.
So
he
is a meat connoisseur. And yesterday, him carving up that turkey on air,
it was therapeutic.
And it was really, really good how he did it. It wasn't like, he was torturing it. I was like, my man.
John Smoltz was hypnotized watching him too.
That was peak food social media back in the day when smokers weren't like the standard. When like it was different and interesting and not everybody had one. That's
You're gonna buy that Blackstone,
aren't you? Do you want I think I'm definitely in the minority here. Do you want 2 Thanksgivings?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, like obviously for the day off, and obviously to like.
No, it has nothing to do with the day off.
You want to stuff yourself.
I'm usually working on Thanksgiving anyhow, so it doesn't matter.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah. Stuff yourself twice.
I don't know.
With Thanksgiving.
It's just a lot of food, and it's a lot of calories and a lot of carbs, and you don't feel that great. Like for a couple of days. It would be
2 days out of a year, or in our case, just 1 day out of a year.
Well,
you're complaining?
No, I'm not complaining. I'm just saying on the hypothetical, I don't think it sounds.
One on the 13th of October, and you have time to rest up for the
work
Thursday
it out
in November.
So you don't, it's
I'm
healthy.
I'm just saying, I just don't think it sounds as incredible as everybody's making it out to be. I eat a lot of food and drink a lot of beer on Thanksgiving.
Then you should be all about
Okay.
this.
You don't want it to do it twice?
And then I feel terrible on Friday, and then I'm coming back to be on Saturday, and I'm probably not fully recovered until Sunday.
Which one of us is 23?
I don't know if doing that twice in a year, like that's the greatness of Thanksgiving is that you only really do it like once, it's a once a year type deal.
Nonsense. I'm with you, Gary.
Man, you're the reason why places like Boston Market are no longer exist.
Yeah.
All right, where you could go and have Thanksgiving every day.
I grew up with a Boston Market right next to my house.
You didn't go to it?
No.
Yeah.
No, we never
Obviously.
went. We never went. It closed down a couple of years ago. It was too much food.
So the one over on 114th and Dodge,
yeah,
was a popular one. I would go there. I like Boston Market, and I would go there. I don't know, probably once every other month.
Yeah,
I want to go there one day, and next thing you know,
I'm
it's
telling you,
gone. Now that whole area. I don't know if you guys go over to that area.
No,
it looks completely different.
There's a Hawaiian Brothers.
Well, and there's that's where the Funny Bone is.
Yes,
but yeah, I like Boston Market.
There's a reason why it closed, Gary.
You didn't go to it.
It's a little having potatoes, mac and cheese, and a crap ton of meat once, like every week. It doesn't work.
I don't see the Ozempic commercials.
Sorry, sue me. I don't always want Thanksgiving food. All right, turkey, overrated meat.
Matt McMaster here for kale.
No, I'm not here for kale, but I'm just saying.
So, what do you eat on Thanksgiving then?
I have the potatoes and the mac and cheese, and then we always host. So we do always have a second meat.
Okay.
So we've made prime rib.
Oh, good call.
We've had chickens before. Like we get 2 K-pop chickens. No, not live chickens, but we get them from. There is actually an incredible butcher, like a world-class butcher that we live relatively close to. So we go ahead and we get great meat from there. So I'm not a turkey guy. Never been a turkey.
I have a good friend. He was actually my high school baseball coach.
Okay.
He grew up on a farm in Iowa.
All right.
And so he doesn't eat any fins or feathers because he had to pluck chickens when he was a kid growing up.
Yeah, that's tough.
And so once he got out of the house, he had such a distaste
Yeah.
for chicken that
sucks.
he never in his lifetime, fins or feathers, he's out.
That's terrible.
Yeah.
I love chicken. I couldn't.
I do too.
I could not live without chicken. I eat chicken every
Mm.
single day. I think chicken's incredible. The customization of chicken, you can do a chicken anything. All right.
See, you can
Yes,
do
you
that
can.
twice a year.
Chicken pasta.
potatoes.
Well, I do it every single year. But I'm just saying, I think Thanksgiving, just having it once, that's why it's so perfect. That's why it works. That's why it's like, all right, this is the time where I get to absolutely stuff my face and I don't have to think about it. And I'm going to indulge. Doing it twice, while it would be fun, I don't think is as great as maybe people make it out to be.
We're all going to be dead in 100 years anyway.
How many
fun.
Boston markets are left?
I don't, and they might be done.
They might.
They might be done. The company that owned them, they may have sold them. I bet there are a couple that are left, but there's none in this area.
When I look up how many,
They still have a website.
when I look up how many Boston markets are left, immediately comes up. There are 16 Boston market locations remaining in the U.S.
Boston Market and then Boston Pizza, which is a Canadian pizza joint that is in parts of the U.S. more closer to the border.
At its peak, there were 1,200 Boston
Yeah.
markets.
They were really, really popular.
Oh
they
my
spent a lot of money on advertising.
The Huskers
It was
were
a good
winning. It was
place.
a great time.
What happened? What I would love to know what happened there. Did just people like all of a sudden our taste buds changed and we didn't like Thanksgiving style food every
16
week?
remaining.
I have no idea.
Where are they?
No idea.
Got to be in Boston, right?
No, probably like Sheboygan or something. Right.
What? I mean, it's Boston Market. You'd think it'd probably be a Boston.
Like Starkville, Mississippi.
Yeah.
West Lafayette, Indiana, probably.
Adam writes into the Equitable Bank inbox. This is kind of something we were talking about at the end of the last hour. Good morning, 1620. Good morning, Adam. I'd like your thoughts on team focus with distraction of the head coach. And what do you think Rule said to the team? Good program as always. Thank you, Adam.
I think I agree with you.
So, guys, I'm out the door. Dylan, could you do an Instagram post, please?
Gotcha, coach.
Dylan, tweet this. Tweet. Okay. In all seriousness, I do agree.
I think Adam at the end of last hour we kind of answered the question.
I agree. There's culture strong.
I don't think it'll be a distraction. But Rule acknowledged it on Sunday with his team.
I'm just laughing at the Dylan. We need to take a picture together, and you need to post it with an inspirational caption.
Live, laugh, love in Lincoln.
Or like maybe Dylan posts a picture.
What is most of Dylan's Instagram like?
A lot of him.
Okay. Like he just signed. I don't know why this. They do not. Okay. So I don't think Dylan is marketed very well in state. Because you know what?
Okay.
He just signed a fairly significant NIL deal yesterday.
Oh, I had no clue.
And nobody released it to the local media. So his new NIL partnership is Takis.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That's dope.
The chip?
Yeah.
That's sick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Respect.
So, but nobody in state was told about it.
That's terrible.
Yeah.
That's great, by the way. For Takis, that's a great pickup.
It is. It is a really smart move on their part.
Incredible.
But I think Dylan might be marketed more outside the state than in the state. Now, he has national brands like Panini to Adidas.
Yeah.
But you haven't seen, and I don't.
Billboard.
And well, you know how when Adidas had Harper Murray.
Yeah.
What they did.
Why
have they done anything in Lincoln for Dylan?
I have not seen it. And I'm looking through his Instagram now. I guarantee he probably would have posted it if there was something of that nature. And by the way, so would I. If there was a billboard of me in a city, you're damn right. I would post it everywhere. Which, so for him, like, there does come like Harper Murray has won a ton. Like the Nebraska volleyball has been an absolute wagon. And they've done incredible things. So it's like it makes sense that she gets that attention. I think Dylan, like, they end up going 10-2, and 11, or like make the college football playoff and become the story of college football and have a great end of the year. I would not be shocked at all. What would the reaction be if Dylan had like a billboard or had a big, witness with, Nike type thing in Lincoln?
I think it'd be fine. He's quarterback of a winning football team.
Once.
I don't think. But I don't think it would be
I think we'd understand. I mean, Nebraska has a quarterback that's a brand. I wonder if that's in the works.
I think he's
for
got
Adidas in Lincoln. And we don't live in Lincoln. So
sure.
If anybody is in Lincoln and they've seen billboards and things like that, let us know. But yeah, you're right. It would be on his Instagram and we would hear about it.
Well, here's another thing too.
Because they only did 2 days of Harper Murray when she did her deal.
So I want to reiterate this. What a smart move by Takis.
Mm-hmm.
Like
kids like Takis.
No, it's kids like me. It's the 20-year-olds and the 18-year-olds
who won't eat
and
2
Thanksgivings that love that
Takis.
chip. Like it's become a little bit of a meme of how much you love Takis. So I think that's a great pickup for them. On top of that, Dylan's got a great photographer, man. I mean, these pictures, just saying, low-key kind of jealous. Okay. They are nice Instagram pictures.
By the way,
good album.
There's Boston Markets in the Chicagoland area,
one.
DFW, Metroplex, and Houston.
This is pretty dope, where it's him running out of the tunnel and you see the 15 ahead of everybody else, you know?
There's a DR15.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
I don't think it's like his mom taking the pictures with her phone.
That actually would be very refreshing. Speaking of Boston Market, here is John. Good morning, John.
Hey, fellas. Hey, you guys, you might be working in a little side gig here. You might be the new NIL bagman for DR here. But I want to flip back to the Boston Market. Matt, did you say there's 16 Boston Markets left? What's crazy is I'm not going to lie to you. I've looked up how many Boston Markets there are probably every year for the last 5-10 years.
I would too.
Last time I looked, there was like 320. So
whoa.
I think we need Dylan to get that billboard with Boston Market.
Now we're
this
talking.
thing back up.
I agree.
And then we'll get you on the Boston Market train, Matt.
John, what was your go-to Boston Market order?
Dude, the sweet potatoes. But I would just do the Cartman and eat the skin off of the chicken while everybody else was away. Because that Boston Market chicken was
very good.
It was hitting.
Yes.
It slaps, as the kids would say.
There you go. John, thank you.
It was bussin'.
Yeah. The kids say that?
Bussin', yeah.
They say bussin'?
Bussin'. It's bussin', man. You ever see the Aki guy? You ever see that dude? The Aki way?
Probably I have.
He's like a corner store. He has got a corner store in New York, and he makes all these ridiculous foods and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, you put the mashed potatoes on the grill, you put the meat on the grill, you put the green bean on the grill, you put the mozzarella sticks on the grill, and then he goes, sure.
Shake it all about.
Colin writes in. He says the kid is going to have a major shock when he gets married and has to go to more than one Thanksgiving a year.
It's true.
Yeah. Yeah, well, then you just pace and space, right? You just
exactly. That's why you can do two of them.
You could do two. You could do Canadian and American Thanksgiving, and they're more spaced out.
See, but what I'm saying is if I'm going to multiple Thanksgivings, we're running the Mark D'Antoni 7 seconds or less, right? I mean, you're hitting each one. You get a little bit of meal in each one, right? I wouldn't know.
You probably go for lunch and dinner.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Or you go separate days, one on a Thursday, the other on a Friday, or Thursday, Saturday.
But I think it's easier to pace when you know that there's a lot coming up in a short period of time, where it's where you have the 6 weeks. I think you can convince yourself I can stuff my brains.
Yeah, that's why we were saying that. That's
He's coming around. He'll come.
Yeah,
around.
You're coming around.
Get you a Canadian wife.
Yep. Here is Dave in Florida. Morning, Dave.
Good morning, fellas. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. Coming off another district title.
Wow. I didn't even ask that question, but thanks for the thanks for the flex.
That was a great drop, Dave.
Well, that's all right. They were ranked 14th. We were supposedly 114th, and I think it wasn't close.
Yeah. Rankings don't matter.
No. I missed a little bit of the show this morning, so I don't know if this got talked about or not.
Probably did.
2 things here.
Yeah.
Penn State, be careful. Bo Pelini, Frank Solich. I'm gonna throw that out there.
Yeah, but here, can I add something here?
Yeah.
And I'll just focus on the Bo part, because that's popular. Is hey, you got to be careful because what you're wishing for. There's also the factor of the athletic director. Okay. The athletic director comes into play here, and I think Pat Kraft is better than Sean Eichhorst. Just my subtle opinion.
Oh, I'll agree with you on that.
But let me point something out. I think when you make a move with James Franklin, that there is a 95% chance that whoever you hire is not going to have the same resume of success.
Yeah.
So you kind of that's why there's always a backstory. Like there was more of a backstory to Bo. There was more of a backstory to Frank. There's more of a backstory to James. But the athletic director plays a key role in you made that decision. Now you got to make a hire where you don't take a step back. So, but there's always that chance. There's always that chance. But you're always one coach away.
And that's going to be my second part. Is Matt Rule the right guy for the job? I mean, if you look at his resume, there's not a national championship appearance. I know he played in the Big 12 championship game. Did he win a Big 12 title? So does he check those boxes? Because you got to make a splash hire, right?
I think you have to make a fit hire. I mean, hell, the athletic director at Penn State and the head football coach at Nebraska could be brothers if you look at them.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
I mean, you gotta be able to sell it. It's like, how much does the fan base have in faith in Pat Kraft? I actually think, and I said Mike Elko yesterday. I think, hey, you want to take a jab at your rival, see if Brian Hartline is interested.
Yeah.
And then a name that won't go away in the last 2 days is Joe Brady. So who knows? I think it's got to be. I think it's got to be a fit for the AD, which of course Rule and their relationship. But I don't know. I kind of everything that Pat Kraft said yesterday is actually what Rule is. But you're right. That's a tough sell if you got rid of a guy that couldn't win big games, and now you're going to go hire a guy that can't win big games. And you hire and let's also get down to this. The bottom line is Matt Rule is not a candidate at Penn State if he doesn't have a connection to Penn State.
Oh,
if they're just doing a hot board, Matt Rule's name is not on it.
Oh, I agree with that. I mean, I don't think he's going to go anywhere. I mean, you could be the King of Lincoln basically doing what Matt Rule's doing. And if he goes to Penn State and does what he's been doing at Nebraska, would that make him the King of Pennsylvania?
The King of Prussia, which is a mall there, maybe. Yeah.
I mean, I don't think Nebraska fans need to worry. That's just my personal opinion. I don't think he's gonna. I don't know if he wants. I don't know if he wants it. I mean, he may say he does, but hey, we went through this with Scott. Oh, he's the man. He has to fit. No, and you don't always necessarily want to go home.
Yeah, that's a good point, Dave. I'll be home shortly. I'll check you out when I'm back in SFWLA.
Well, let me know. We'll be home till sometime after Thanksgiving. So if you want to come to the island on a Friday, we'll hook you up with the VIP.
I got you, brother. Yes. I got you, brother. Thank you. I'll see you at Duffy's.
They got Boston markets in South Florida too.
Okay. So
got you covered.
No, I'm going to take a break because I'm going to need to ask a question off air if I'm allowed to bring up something.
Okay.
Uh-oh.
I don't know if I'd be the best judge for you.
Yeah, we've only been together a little over 3 years.
Hey, what Dave said sparked something.
Okay.
So I'm going to run it by the board.
Yeah.
And then we'll see if it is allowed to be aired in the next segment.
Is this the first time you're asking a 23-year-old for advice?
No, because I used to be your age one time.
That's a good point.
By the way, another thing about today, October 14th, if you love baseball, and I know you love baseball, this is a day that began my 6-day silence 22 years ago today. It is also a day that if you love baseball, there are so many things that happen on the 14th of October in the world of baseball.
That happens a lot in the NBA finals as well. When like the NBA finals rolls around, like we get or during the whole playoffs, it's like, oh, Michael Jordan won his 7th or 6th title today.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what has happened in baseball history on this date. But yes, this is the day of Bartman.
I should have worn
the day of Bernie Mac.
Should have wore a green shirt.
I went to that month. I went to Halloween dressed as Bartman. But after it happened, 6 days, I didn't talk to anybody. Remember, I was hosting a network talk show and had to go do the Texas A&M Nebraska football game. Didn't talk to anybody.
Good thing the Huskers.
I didn't even talk to my eventual wife, and she was like, "Are you okay?" I wasn't answering the phone. I was like in darkness. The only time I was talking when I was on the air.
Real quick, I think I've told you this before. So he went to my high school.
Yeah.
My high school colors are green.
Yeah.
And so the rumor is that shirt that he's wearing, that green shirt, was a Notre Dame college prep shirt under his stuff.
He's okay in my book.
Yeah, because they finally won a World
22
Series.
years ago today, Alex Gonzalez, you are up. We're back with more Gary and Matt after this at 1620 The Zone. All right, so I like to watch Feinbaum, especially on Mondays, because it's a good recap of the weekend of college football. Now, basically SEC heavy is, and he used to be a journalist, but now he's an entertainer and he's a grinder. Man, Cignetti has him running.
Oh no!
So if Cignetti was in the SEC, so Feinbaum went off on Indiana yesterday, and in particular Cignetti, for his brashness. If he was in the SEC, they would love him to no end.
He'd be the king.
They would love that he puts himself out there.
He'd be ESPN's
that he's cocky, that he's brash. They would love him. But because he's in the Big Ten and they're running scared, they find every time to crush Cignetti. Well, last I looked, the top 3 teams in college football, none of them are in the SEC. And one of them is actually Indiana. Indiana, where we live in a world where it's not crazy to think that Penn State may hire an Indiana coach. Okay? But Cignetti's got him. They're running the SEC. He's under their skin. They're like, where's our guy that's like, he's got it coming to him. Well, that's what we thought. And he just went out to Eugene and beat Oregon.
Well, you go, where's our guy? They kind of do have the Cignetti already in Lane, but Lane hasn't had a team that is like a legitimate national title contender.
Huge game between the hedges on a Saturday night. But Lane is not Cignetti.
No, Lane's funnier.
Yes. Cignetti is like all business. That once in a while he'll crack a smile, but he's like focus, discipline, humble, all of those things. So it comes across as being cocky.
Yeah.
But he just kind of tells the truth. Like Lane is having fun.
Oh, he's having a
But
great
he's also
time.
very sly, and he sneaks in there and he scores a touchdown on you. Do you think so 2 things. I'll address what I was going to say when Dave called.
Okay.
So, they sneak in yesterday. The Nebraska's wearing all white. Great. That was a good day. It was 48-25 up in Minneapolis. No,
it's
remember,
a good tone. I just like your tone.
I'm not. One of my worst memories of Nebraska football is all whites.
Yeah.
So, and it's
Citrus Bowl game
when they quit.
Yeah.
It's one of the rare teams in Nebraska football history that flat out just quit in that game. Feel bad for Tom Haas. Aurora's finest got crushed. They quit in that game. So I always attach that game with the white.
Yeah.
So, and then there are others with the surrender whites and stuff.
Season.
And I say, okay, if you're going to wear all white, remember, I'm a big fan of the white on red. If you're going to wear all white, let's make it on a grass game. Because I like all white when you're on grass. I like the Lions playing at Arrowhead Sunday night wearing all white. Because I can see how many times we're hitting the quarterback. I can see that the left tackle for the Lions has a very clean jersey. And I'm like, boys, what are we doing here? But do you think, and this might be a reach, and I've done many of them. So Rule is on this campaign to get people to think differently about Nebraska football, right? That by wearing white against a team that has owned you is to prove a point and to prove that the past is in the past and Nebraska can win in any uniform, whether it's got a curse or not.
1,000,000%. I think there's a reason why Dylan is also on this escapade. Like, I think now he's been less vocal about it than Matt Rule, but
on Instagram
in the moment, but
that's where kids live now. Except for Emmett Johnson. Emmett Johnson's got some banger TikToks.
Okay. Like, what do you mean by banger TikToks? Like good dances?
Just funny stuff.
Okay. Terrific. He's a funny guy?
Friggin' A. He's going to be funny. He's a captain. They made him a captain for the game at Minnesota.
That's awesome. Good for
nice.
Him. I definitely do think it is. They are like
take him in your college football fantasy draft this week.
Going to have the Rico Dowdle game. Like we've talked about this in the offseason. Like this is kind of the streak breaking year, right? There's all these streaks and all these things that you haven't done since when. And I think they are very much, I mean, he kind of mentioned one of them yesterday. Like they haven't beaten them in the last 5 times they played them. Like they want to break those things and they want to prove to people like, hey, this is a different program. They kind of want to prove a little bit what PJ Fleck said about Nebraska. Yesterday, PJ Fleck said about Nebraska, I'm not worried about Nebraska 7 years ago. This is Matt Rule's team in 2025. That's all that matters. They want to prove that sentiment. So yeah, 1,000,000%. Because, and you know my stance on this, like they could be playing in garbage bags. I really don't care. Like I've just like I
might hurt with the running, like fluidity.
Yeah, and probably like the aerodynamics probably won't work out. I'm saying you get my sentiment.
No.
You don't get my
Because now I'm thinking, man, could they win a football game wearing garbage bags?
If they were playing Akron, yeah.
And where would all the patches go on the garbage bag?
It'd probably be like duct tape.
Would it be all garbage bag?
Like, yes.
Yeah, you know what? Speaking of garbage bag, when you wear all white, I hope it's not white trash. Okay. So let me present this to you about what Dave asked. I hope that at some point in our lifetime, we love our alma mater as much as Matt Rule does. I love Penn State. Please love me back. Say something. Okay? But he loves his alma mater. He loves his alma mater, and he hasn't coached there more than the guy that came back to his alma mater and coached. But
it's true.
Could that guy that came to his alma mater and had trouble actually help Matt Rule stay at Nebraska?
Digress. Continue. I don't know. Like
digress?
What's the point? Continue your point is kind of what I'm trying to say. I don't see it.
We are very aware of the situation of why you have the job at Nebraska, correct?
Oh, sure.
And you have brought it up about Scott.
Yeah.
Going home, the expectations.
Yeah.
It's not always rainbows and butterflies. So you are cognizant of that. Now, the difference is the connection with an AD. There was no previous connection between Bill Moose and Scott Frost. There is definitely a connection between Pat Kraft and Matt Rule that you weigh all the situations.
Yeah.
And you're like, I've seen this before. You're going to be hired to get fired at your alma mater. Do I really want that? Or do I want it from afar? Keep going, man. I love Penn State, but I love my current job.
I
think I know. There's a lot of things that go into factor when you're thinking about jobs and stuff. And if we ever get to this point, which if we do get to this point, I want to prepare people that if offered, he's gone, because your friend, the AD, would not make a public offer unless he already knew you were going to accept it.
Sure.
Because that would be a bad look.
Oh, yes.
So if there's an offer, gone, but who knows if there will be an offer.
Can you imagine? And you bring up a great point. This is just me making a joke here, but can you imagine he's got the offer, he's about to take off, his wife goes okay, his kids are ready to go. They're about to pack the U-Haul and head out to Pennsylvania, and he goes, "Honey, Scott Frost, we can't leave." What? Scott Frost, we can't leave. Didn't work out for Scott.
Makes sense.
Scott, we can't leave. I mean, that would, I definitely do think though you have to think about how good is your situation here, all the work that you've put in, all of the time and effort that you've gotten to change this program and have the fans rally behind you and the goodwill that you have built on the podium and on the field.
It's a metaphor for life.
Yeah,
it's true.
All of the things that have gotten into it. And then you're just going to, after all of that work, just kind of pack up and leave and put yourself in a situation where, it wouldn't be the greatest situation from an optics standpoint. And it would be a tough situation from what you have to accomplish immediately, right? There's no year 3 Matt Rule with Penn State. It is going to have to be year 1 Matt Rule at Penn State, year 2 Matt Rule at Penn State. It'll be incredibly different from anything he's done before.
Buckle up, everybody. It's going to be a wild season for NFL and college football of coordinators, assistant coaches, head coaches. Look at the jobs that could come open. I don't know that there's going to be some schools that might want to make a change, that are going to look at who they're competing against.
Sure.
That are going to you know what, let's hold on for one more year in a different cycle. I think NFL and college football, because last year, I think we had a pause because of the playoff.
Yeah.
Now we're another year into the expanded playoff, and people are like, we're not there.
Yeah.
Keep an eye on Michigan. Michigan loses this weekend to Washington at home. They're all of a sudden 4-3. It could just get bonkers in the next 2 months in silly season in football.
You mentioned college football. Now you mentioned the NFL too. The Ravens could be open. Cincinnati could be open.
Well,
Tennessee's
open
already
now.
open.
Yeah.
The Jets could be open again. That. I don't know, man. Having 2 of the coaches in the AFC North, having 2 of those jobs open, that'd be insane.
All right. Sam McEwen from the World Herald will join us next on 1620 The Zone. All right, 7:40 on a Tuesday morning. We welcome in Sam McCune of the Omaha World Herald. Congrats on the Bears win last night. Good morning.
Thanks. I appreciate that. Good morning.
Nicely done out of you. Not a surprise. The two questions you asked to kickstart yesterday, the Penn State discussion. But I want to go in a different direction because I said this early, and you know this, Sam. What Rule turned yesterday into about Nebraska doing something different that is away from the Nebraska way of athletics and spending on all of that. He used that to talk about something he has talked about now for about a year. In your opinion, does Nebraska have the ability financially to go to the next level where some of those schools they're chasing are at currently?
Well, I think so. I mean, I don't really think Nebraska is that far off now. It's more a question of absolute maintenance, maintaining that edge, expanding where you can. And I think you also heard him talk about the stadium project.
Yeah.
And like that doesn't have anything to do with anybody outside of Nebraska. And honestly, I don't know that it impacts the team that much. I think Rule is a principled person. And sometimes people with principles are challenging because it's as much about the idea as it is about like what personally helps them. And so I think Rule is, he wants, he wouldn't have said that yesterday if he didn't think it was important that project got going.
Yep.
Again, and it's going on sort of this pause/hiatus. And I think there was a sense of, he wouldn't have brought it up. I think he wants to see Nebraska be an innovator and be on the edge, the forefront. Now, there's some things that Nebraska, was on the forefront once upon a time that, were more about the ideas that Nebraska had versus the money that it takes to necessarily buy a $40 million roster. And so the other challenge is that going forward, this isn't going to be like, hey, let's get all our boosters together and they can just give the players money. You have to filter these things through legitimate NIL deals. And there's a couple of different ways that you can attack that. You can do it through, obviously, apparel deals. You can do it through your MMR, which is your multimedia rights, or you can do it through other deals. Mm-hmm. But you're not going to be able to just like Ohio State and Oregon aren't cobbling this thing together with just a handful of boosters just giving direct payments to players unless they're doing it incorrectly, illegally. And so Nebraska's got to, put a structure around it. And some of that's stand-ins, some of that's the stakeholders in place, some of that's companies. And that infrastructure takes a little bit of time. So I don't think they're that far off. Mm-hmm. I don't think they're like, there's 18 teams in the Big Ten, right? I think it'd be fair to say that Nebraska is competing, in the top half and maybe the top third of the league in that way. And that puts you within range of the playoff. Anytime you're in the top 6 of the Big Ten, let's just say for argument's sake, you're within range of the playoff at a 12-team rate, and you're very much in range if it goes to 16. And so Nebraska needs to maintain its edge, and then they got to get better on the field. Like it's not just the money, but they have to spend the money in the right way and invest in the right players, and they have to continue to hone their strategic excellence. And for what it's worth, I thought in the Maryland game they did a lot of really good things in that direction. I was a little dubious, of some of the things that you saw against Michigan State. I thought against Maryland there were some course corrections, and this team continues to find its identity and develop and hone that. And as you do that, you have a chance to have a big season.
Sam, congratulations to us. Hell of a victory yesterday.
It was.
And I just want to say it's been a crazy roller coaster for you and me both, because it feels like I've been watching the same teams on Saturday and Sunday for the last 3 years as they've been mirroring each other.
Oh yeah.
I got to ask you this, and Gary and I had this conversation earlier in the show. And I posed this question to Gary, and I'll pose it to you as well. He said yesterday, nothing's happened. And he's right. I mean, it's like James Franklin just got fired, and we've kind of logically connected the dots, and he went out and he addressed that. And then he, after your first initial question, goes ahead and kind of does a little bit of a leverage play, right? Talking about, hey, we need to be innovative, we need to be on the cutting floor and everything like that. In your opinion, do you think the prospect of him potentially going to Penn State is enough of a kick in the butt to the athletic department, to donors, to interested parties to actually do what he's saying when it comes to making that financial investment in football?
I think so. There's part of me that wonders why, like, did he say that yesterday as a contingent or like as a condition or because, he wants to stay? But there's things that, if you want to be at the very top, this is what you're going to have to do to compete. And in turn, if I were on the other side of the coin, I would say, okay, like, we'll invest. Show us, that you're going to wisely spend it on the right kinds of players and that you're going to play Big Ten football. And for what it's worth, I feel like this game against Maryland, we saw a little bit of the tweak in the right direction. And I'm not trying to gas up that win too much, but I was encouraged by the fact that, they mitigated Maryland's edge rushers by running the ball at them. That's good. Like, that's how you take some of their speed out of them, is you pound them for 3 quarters. And I was encouraged by that. Some of the best teams in the NFL, that's what they do. Like, they protect their quarterbacks in part by running the football, and the teams that are struggling a little bit, that get their quarterbacks hammered all the time, haven't established that. And so, you see that happening, for example, with the Bears. The Bears are running 4 running backs.
Yes.
4.
Yeah.
And that's rare. And the fourth one, obviously, is a receiver. But Ben Johnson knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
What he's trying to do very hard is he's trying to take some pressure off a quarterback who is apt to make mistakes all the time. Like, he's a wild colt out there. And so what they're trying to do very hard is say, hey, we're going to take some of this game out of your hand, and we're going to put you in positions to win the football game that are unrelated to your ability. Like, we're going to run the football anyway. I don't want to get off on a Bears team. My point being that Ben Johnson has put that franchise already in a strategic place that it wasn't for many years.
Yes.
And Nebraska's got to continue to get there. And I think the offensive identity has been the issue that they've been trying to figure out, and I think they're getting closer and closer and closer. So I don't know. Like, I think they have. It can be a kick in the pants. The stadium thing, which we need to explore more, is a trickier conversation, and one that involves more layers than just, hey, how do we go get a player? I'm in wholehearted belief that the stadium needs to get done. There's no question.
Dragging their feet.
They are, and part of the challenge with the stadium is, Trev kind of had a vision, and his vision, at least for the south end zone, was not wrong. And then, he left, and then, Dannon came in, and it's like, well, let's look at the south stadium and see if we actually have to take the thing all the way down. The answer is yes, you do. And they also found, foundational work that they've got to do on the east and west side that hasn't been done. And so there's all these other layers that make that conversation challenging. On the west side of the stadium, do you want to make that sort of like a sports book / sports bar, or do you want to try to get the Champions Club, which is currently owned by the University Foundation? And there's all kinds of issues around that. And the only way, in theory, that you could wipe them all off the table is say, you know what, we've decided we're just going to build a new stadium north of the interstate and do it out there.
Yeah.
That would solve the problem. But, like, the Chiefs aren't doing that. The Chiefs have down in Kansas City have failed to commit to a new stadium. They're still stuck on, maybe we can renovate Arrowhead and get the Royals out of here. So, like, there are so many things. And that's the Chiefs. They could do whatever the hell they want. And it's hard.
Yeah.
I think Rule knows it's hard.
Yeah, it's tough to sit and watch Iowa, Wisconsin, watch the Mizzou, Alabama game, and they've had 2 end zone projects, and go, wow, this has been talked about for a while. But you made a good point. As people have gotten into the stadium and, like, looking at structurally, it's 100+ years old. Yeah. So there's a lot that goes into it. Let's shift to Friday night. First game ever that Matt Rule coaches. Runs into what Minnesota's identity is. Is it crazy to think that 2 years later, when they meet again in the same stadium, that Nebraska looks more like Minnesota in 2025 than Minnesota looks like Minnesota in 2025?
Well, you'd hope so. And again, what we saw against Maryland would indicate that we're leaning in that direction. The team I watched against Michigan State and Michigan, I don't know. they were looked a lot like Minnesota in 2025. And I think their quarterback got, rocked. I think Riley got sacked 12 times, and that's not going to work. And so against Maryland, even though he threw the 3 picks, and the second one was ludicrous, they kept him healthy and they kept him upright. And late in the game, lo and behold, he makes an incredible sort of point guard pass to Luke Lundenmeyer.
Yeah.
And then he's got the arm strength to kind of play through a stumble and throw it to Hunter. And then he makes another play to Harburg. And then he throws a really nice ball over to Dane Key. 4 very different kind of plays. But he's ready to go. He's healthy, and he's, I know he's banged up, but in that moment, he's not, as Dana Holgerson said the week before, loopy. He's clear-headed. He knows what he wants to do, and he did it. And so I think Nebraska, if they can continue to say, hey, we are going to trust our quarterback late, but until we get there, we're running the dang ball. And we are going to give him opportunities to throw play action, but we are going to lean on Emmett. We're going to lean on the backup. We might even have a Ja'Cory Barney sweep run, which they haven't been doing a lot of. I don't know that Ja'Cory Barney's totally healthy, but he's playing through it all. So there's all these little things. We're gonna throw screen passes that delay the rush a little bit. So I think they've got an identity there. Now Minnesota may come out and play the same defense Cincinnati did, bend don't break, and then you're back to kind of, hey, we'll dink and dunk underneath and matriculate our way down the field, but. I think Minnesota is in a tough spot. The way, Minnesota is a very game control kind of team. So if they get ahead, that's when they start running the ball a lot, and they have not been ahead. Like they fell behind early to Purdue. They fell behind early to Rutgers, and they were up 3-0 on Ohio State, but they fell behind 14-3 pretty quickly. Yep. And so like when you get behind, can you really afford to rack up a bunch of rush yards? Well, you can't. And so they've been playing from behind for almost all of their Big Ten games. And frankly, for a lot of the Cal game too, they lost that game. And so the key is you can't let them get up, because if Minnesota gets ahead, it's kind of like a boa constrictor, and they just sort of squeeze you, and it's really hard to beat them. Now, for what it's worth, Nebraska did not fall behind Minnesota 2 years ago. That was an opportunity for Nebraska to win a game that Nebraska truly botched. And it wasn't really Rule's fault that, a guy fumbled in that one spot, but they outplayed Minnesota that night, and Minnesota just got, I don't know, a little lucky, but they also made the plays, so I think Nebraska is more positioned now to be the kind of team they want to be than Minnesota is right now. But Minnesota is also in a transition. I think Minnesota knows that they got to learn how to throw the ball, or they're never going to get where they want to go if they don't throw the ball better, and that they are doing that. Their quarterback is a nice player, and Nebraska's got to get him to the ground and give him a hard time.
You talked, we're talking about Dylan. You brought up 2 guys, Luke Lindenmeyer, who had a really, really good game and a really great season so far, and Heinrich Harburg, who I've been wildly impressed with, and his transition from quarterback to tight end, the impact he's been able to make. Their coach is Marcus Satterfield, who has gone through the ringer in terms of quarterbacks coach and OC and the $1.4 million tight ends coach. The success of his room and maybe just how Sat has done with those position players, do you think it indicates anything about the team's culture?
Oh, I think, yeah. I mean, I think it's Marcus Satterfield is I think widely regarded as a very good position coach and a football guy and 12 different things. That's all true. I think obviously he and Rule together bet on the wrong quarterback a couple of years ago. Everybody watched him play against Utah on Saturday night, and it's just probably not a major conference starter anymore. And so then he got hurt, and then they had to put in Harburg, and so the whole thing was just a tough deal. And but ultimately, I think he's done a real nice job, and I don't think he's completely out of the game planning worldview. I think he's a toughness guy and an edge guy, and I think we've seen them, in my opinion, tilt a little bit back toward that here in the last couple of weeks. And I'm not to say that. I mean, I think they did some nice things against Michigan State too, but I thought the Maryland game was like, okay, we're going to come out, we're going to run the ball early. And people always think about, okay, well, gall darn it, you didn't score. Guys, it's about the cumulative whatever that you put on a defense, the cumulative pounding, the cumulative physical trauma, that's what a run game gets you. And so late in the game, when that defense needs to pin its ears back, you know what? It can't pin its ears back as well because they haven't, unless they're Iowa. And Iowa's built for that kind of thing. But Maryland, you got two freshmen and they can't get it done the same way that they were in the first half. Mm-hmm. So I think that's the thing. And I think their culture is pretty strong. Their defense is coming along. I think it's pretty clear that their defense needs to get better athletically, and they need to continue to come along with young players who are developing. And you need more Williams, 96. They need more of those guys, and they need more Vincent Shaver. He's playing through injury, because he's still better than other people. They need more of those guys.
Yeah. We'll get you out on this. How much do they need Malcolm Hartzog to come back?
Well, it would help, for sure. Yeah, I think it would help because then you could maybe do some different things with Donnie Jones, who's a corner but can move inside, and you have an opportunity for more of a rotation at corner. Mm-hmm. And Hartzog's he's a capable tackler. Not that Sierra Wright isn't, but he's a capable tackler, and I do think it would help them with depth. I don't think we're going to see him this week, but we'll see.
Hey, Sam, as always, we appreciate it. Safe travels up to the cities. We'll see you Friday night.
All right, take care. Bye.
See you, Sam.
That's Sam McEwen of the Omaha World Herald.
Is there an Arlington Heights of Nebraska? Because that would be wild.
Well, there is.
Okay.
I think I've been on this. I think Nebraska needs to build a new stadium. The old grandma needs to come down because you could play in the old grandma while the new grandma is getting built. I think over by Haymarket Park.
Yeah, we've talked about this.
No dome.
I mean, no
That's
dome.
my only impact.
Dome. No, you could build. Input. You could build a state-of-the-art stadium.
Yes.
Because by the time you're done with the cost of steel and everything else, to renovate a 100-plus-year-old stadium is going to be the same, basically, as building a brand new stadium.
I was going to say. I mean, it's not that far off.
But you can only do it if you're building a new one in Lincoln. You can't displace the fans for a couple of years and say, "Hey, drive to Arrowhead."
No, God,
you can't do that.
I can attest that's
but there is, as companies have assessed the stadium, there's a lot of things to reinforce it. And we're not, South Stadium is new. You'll have a whole new South Stadium.
Yeah.
But the other three quadrants,
that's tough.
Yeah. But they need to get this moving, because it's, there is stuff going on the campus. And I know the plan is kind of after the first of the year to present this to Board of Regents.
Yeah.
But then once that happens, how long before we have stuff moving? Because this was supposed to be the first football season without a South Stadium.
Yeah. No, it's dragged. It's dragged on.
So they can do it in Iowa City. They can do it in Madison. They can do it in Columbia. They can do it in Nashville, Tennessee. How come you can't do it in Lincoln, Nebraska? Everybody else has got these stadium projects. Boom. Iowa and Wisconsin. They got the plans. They got the end zone done. Boom. They were ready to go. I mean, look at Mizzou. I think what DLR is doing there, that's going to be incredible. And they've already done one other end zone. But this is Nebraska, and a lot of people have opinions. A lot of people need to reach down deep.
Yeah.
Reach down deep. But would you rather pay for stadium or a player? That's the question.
Ooh.
And that's the selling point. All right. We're halfway home. The band's about to take the field. It's halftime. We'll be back. Brian Christopherson, Andy Kendi a little bit later on Gary and Matt on 1620 The Zone. All right, welcome back in, Gary and Matt. There's Matt, I'm Gary. Jimmy is here as well on a morning after we had some powerful doinks last night.
Yes.
Hope you had some powerful doinks.
Isn't it great when it goes for you?
Oh.
Isn't that awesome? I wish it hit the other upright, though. I wish it double doinked. I wish it triple doinked.
Double dip of football. You got your wish. I got my wish. Go Falcons.
Yes.
Won their game last night.
I told you that was going to be a little bit of a sneaky game. The Bills. That wasn't a Falcons winning the game.
Things are clearing out for you.
That was a Bills losing the game. All of a sudden, some voodoo magic over there.
They threw some pressure on Josh Allen, and we got reminded that Sean McDermott may not be the coach for the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah,
Have fun with your bye week. They've lost 2 in a row. Their defense will be the one that holds them back, because I'm still a fan of Josh Allen. But then that game, so it must be in Chris Fowler's contract that he does the second game of the Monday night doubleheader.
Oh, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, that's now his niche thing. You know, was it that bad? I didn't have the volume on. I was listening to Aikman just crap over
I just
my quarterback.
can't. He's college football to me.
Yeah, it's the same thing with Kirk and Prime. I can't do it. I can't when I hear Kirk Herbstreit and Chris Fowler, they better be announcing Tennessee playing Georgia. Okay, I don't need you to be announcing the Titans.
They'll be doing Ole Miss, Georgia.
That'll be great. No, every time I looked over to that screen, it Josh Allen was spiking a ball.
Or Bijan Robinson was running all over the place.
We should fire Arthur Smith again. For how he didn't use Bijan Robinson for his first years being the coach of the Atlanta Falcons. He should get refired. I know he already got fired. Let's just run it. Let's just bring him back to Atlanta, put him in front of Howard, the owner, and just say, hey, you're fired again.
Well,
he's incredible.
And then they paired him with Drake London.
He looked good too.
I think I like watching the Falcons on primetime TV with Bijan.
Something people don't ever say.
No, but you know what? I like watching.
I know what you mean.
So there was a simpler time. Some will say that football was better in the 80s. Some will say that football was better in the 90s. Some will say that life was much better back in the day.
Got no arguments.
I think we get very nostalgic and get very like the Falcons last night were wearing throwbacks
instead of those garbage uniforms they have. Those are normal.
Yeah,
it's beautiful.
So, but I think when we look at a discussion this morning about Nebraska wearing all white in Minnesota, it was a simpler time when you knew what your home uniform was and your road uniform, because we just lean into nostalgia. We like the powder blues of the Chargers. We like the creamsicle. I loved what the Falcons did, but even more so, the helmets.
Helmets were sick.
And you know why I like the helmets?
Why do you like the helmet?
Because when I was a little kid, this was well before you were born.
Not that long ago.
Yeah, that was just to say a lot of you just said the days were back.
So back in 2001.
Yeah, literally. You said 80s and 90s were way better. I go, guys, I wasn't even a thought in my parents' brain.
Let me tell you about Eric Crouch.
Like almost every team in the NFL, I don't want to say every, a good majority of the teams in the NFL have tweaked their helmet logo.
Yeah.
Is back to simpler times when you would go to the grocery store, and while you were leaving, you would be given a quarter, and you would go to the vending machine where you put the quarter in and turn it, and you would get the helmets. Okay. So I collected those little mini helmets that you got out of the, I guess you call them, no, it's not a vending machine.
It was like a little, yeah.
Yeah. It was
gum balls next to it.
Yeah, I had those too.
Yeah.
I had those.
So you'd put the quarter in, and you'd hope you did not you'd get a new helmet, and it would come and would be the plastic mini helmet.
That's awesome.
And you'd have the face mask, the plastic face mask that you'd put on the side, and then you had the sticker that you'd put, or the sticker would already come. So I got the standings board.
That's how you do it.
But the helmet back when I was a kid was like a precious thing. And you knew that helmet and you knew the team. And so I think when I see like the Falcons helmets they were wearing last night, that brings me back to part of my youth that I loved because I collected every one of those. I bet I had so many Cardinal helmets. There was a run because you would look at the vending machine and it had the clear glass, and you'd be like, okay, I do not have the Steelers. I do not have the Vikings. And, if nobody was looking, I would take it and shake it, hoping that, one would get closer to the exit. And then I'd get a Cardinals one. I'd be like, Mom, need another quarter.
Stump Mitchell, Jim Hart.
But whenever I see old school helmets, I think about when I was a kid and I collected those things. And then I had the standings board. It's the same way in baseball. I got fat because I went to Dairy Queen all the time because I had to eat so much ice cream because I wanted the mini helmet. And then I bought the Actually, we didn't buy it. I convinced the person at the Dairy Queen in Urbandale to give me the standings board.
I get that.
I said, you can keep the helmets, but can I have the board? And this guy was like, I don't know why you want this. And I'm like, trust me. And so I would collect the helmets. And so it's like, you know what? The helmets,
it brings it back.
Them. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I watched the Falcons last night and I was thinking about being a Ute.
Well, talk about inflation.
They look good Saturday.
Back in the day when I was 6, so this was 2008, those helmets that
Shout
you
out
got
Joe
for,
Gans.
you got them for a quarter. We'd have to go to Dick's Sporting Goods and buy the whole cassette, the whole collection for about $22.
I know, isn't that they sell them now? Like you can get them by conference.
Yeah.
In college. That takes the joy or the thrill of turning the knob and having something drop out. And you're like, do I have it? Do I have it?
It's really cool though, because I bought the NHL one.
Yeah, the
back
masks.
in the day, yeah, the mask. But now it's like you don't have the Mammoth, you don't have the Kraken.
That's true.
The Red Wings are in the wrong division. The Red Wings are they're in the West. They should be in the East. And so it's like
look at your conferences.
Well, no, I got the baseball ones as well. You bought the baseball ones, and it's the one that I have. It's the old Houston Astros logo when they were in the NL Central. And so that's like a pretty cool thing that I have. Now, I have a similar story to you. Like I said, inflation and different times of capitalism. We didn't have the helmets, but we did the stickers. So I would go to Sanders Diner and we would be eating, and I would finish up my stuff first, right? I'd always have the scrambled eggs with a little sausage. And then I would run to the little thing you're talking about, the gumball machine, and we would get stickers.
Yeah.
And I wanted to collect the stickers, and I never got the Bears. I always wanted to get the Bears. But then I found something out. I got the Eagles one day, and I had the Philadelphia Eagles. And then the next sticker that I got, I went 2 in a row. I got the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Okay.
And I go, oh, this is alphabetical. Okay. Like the stickers are lined up alphabetically. So one day I got the Arizona Cardinals, and I'm like, all right, I'm right there. Like we're three away from getting. So I kept putting quarters in, just kept spinning it. And eventually I got the Chicago Bears. So I cracked the system.
Nice.
I know. It was incredible. And then I would put them up on my little, it's now in probably a dumpster somewhere, but my old like wooden cabinet. I would take the sticker and I would slap it on the cabinet.
Nice.
This place looks legit, by the way.
Oh my God. Sanders. God. When we do our Northwestern Colorado trip next year, we're going to Sanders. We'll get the corner booth. Tanya, for listening, we're coming. Get the chocolate milk ready, baby. You got to have a bagels and lox there. That's
I'll have the lox platter for two, but just for me.
Oh, $21. Is it still $21.95?
$25.30.
Oh, what's going on? It used to be $21.95. It used to be a great bang for your buck. Mom and I would split
it. Traffic update. Thanks to one of our listeners. JFK is a parking lot.
This has been your traffic update.
Yeah.
Back to you, Gary.
I just looked up the Nebraska-Minnesota odds on FanDuel.
Yeah.
What did it is now up to 9.5.
Open at 4.5.
What's going on?
I think
so. It's 9.5, and the total is 46.5.
Oh yeah. So I don't think the total's moved, but the line is moved.
You say rain?
No. It's just we're getting to the point here where it's like I'll just be honest with you. I was kind of feeling a trap game for Nebraska, like gut trap.
They're daring you.
Yeah.
They're daring you.
Now that it's up to 9.5, I'm thinking, what the hell do the experts know that I don't know that they're projecting that? Because the people who bet on Monday and Tuesday are not mom and pa. All right. They're not the guys that I'm hanging out with. They're not the kids in Lincoln who are going to Sandy's on Wednesday. Okay. The guys who are betting on Monday and Tuesday are the sharks, are the trying to take advantage of bad lines, the guys who handicap their own stuff and find discrepancies. So the fact that it's moved to 9.5 indicates that there are a lot of sharks out there who clearly love Nebraska at a 6.5 number, which I already thought was kind of high.
9.5 this morning on FanDuel. Vandy is still a 2.5-point favorite of LSU. More about Vandy or more about LSU? That game is in Nashville, by the way.
I think it's more about Vandy. Yeah. I think a lot of people walked away from that Alabama game being more encouraged than you think about their performance. And if Diego Pavia doesn't have two terrible turnovers in the red zone for Vanderbilt, that very well could have been a different game. I still think they got gypped on that fumble.
Yeah, you know what? Maybe don't practice the victory formation during warm-ups. Maybe don't do that.
Okay, but does he do that every week?
Yes.
Okay, I kind of like it.
Okay. Well, sometimes it comes back to bite you. But thank you. It helped me out. Thanks for allowing that late second touchdown.
You know what you're doing.
Alabama. What if Clark Lee is the new James Franklin?
If he just so I think we might have said this yesterday. Like, it'd be funny if they hired Clark Lee and they went through the whole Vanderbilt thing again. Do you think that'd be a good hire for them? Or do you think him being at Vanderbilt?
It would hurt my promotion of Mike Elko, but I don't know. I think Clark Lee, because Dan Jackson, who's the head coach at South Dakota State, unbeaten, going to be on national TV for the marker game, the Dakota marker game against North Dakota State, number 1 North Dakota State next week, 7:00, either ESPNU or ESPN2. This PSA is brought to you by big fan of Dan Jackson. DJ worked under Clark at Vanderbilt. He left Northern Illinois to go to Vanderbilt.
Oh, okay.
He loves him. Great football coach. Does he jump? Does he think that he could be Signetti at Vandy, where it's a program that's been an afterthought, that they're trying to invest in football and you can have some success? They're a 2.5-point favorite at home against LSU.
That's wild.
LSU.
Well,
but money talks, and now does he have leverage because he's been successful? And there's a lot of jobs open. Anybody that is sitting here going, okay, all right, we got to do the math here. Let's say Nebraska has an opening. Do you want an opening during this cycle?
No.
Because there's going to be some big boy jobs that are open that you're going to be competing with. And let's say Nebraska sits out this cycle and sits out many more cycles, you would hope. There may be some ADs again that say, man, we got to, hey, associate AD, come in my office. We got to make a change. Well, but Penn State and Florida and maybe Florida State are going to be open.
And maybe Michigan might be open.
How are we going to get the guy that we want? Oh, good point. Just make sure that coach does well next week. Okay, thank you. Good meeting. Let's keep this off the record.
Do you not think they're not talking about this in Madison? Because
I don't know if anybody's talking about Madison. Wisconsin football is in danger of just being irrelevant. Like, there's little chatter. Like, Wisconsin's in a bad spot. Nationally, there is very little chatter about Wisconsin. And I'm going to, for Kyle out there, diehard Wisconsin fan, I almost kind of feel bad for Wisconsin.
Me too.
Because they've gone past rock bottom.
Oh, they've gone.
But I think NIL killed Wisconsin football, and Wisconsin football may not come back.
You don't think that they don't.
They've got so many things going on that are related to the attitude towards the university, let alone the athletic department, that I don't know. I think Wisconsin's in a bad spot, and I don't know that a new coach would come in there and ignite people. Like, would Matt Entz, who I think is a good football coach and probably fits the bill of what Wisconsin does, like, would he ignite you to go, okay, hey, how much money do you need to go get a wide receiver from Florida? So but no one's, Wisconsin is just got beat 37-0, 37 or 38, 37.
It wasn't
37-0. You see what the spread is at home against Ohio State on Saturday?
It's probably 27.
It's 4 touchdowns.
Yeah, that's crazy.
4 touchdowns.
Well, so here's another thing too. Like, the reason why I think this is so demoralizing for Wisconsin is because they thought and people said that they made the home run hire of their last cycle. Like, that's got to sting to believe that you made such an incredible hire, and Luke Fickell and everybody was patting you on the back and telling you that you won the offseason with getting the guy who did what he did in Cincy.
Chris McIntosh, their AD. You're right. Chris McIntosh, their AD. Hey, Luke Fickell at the time seemed like a great hire.
It was a home run.
But they have no identity. They're now into year 3, like Nebraska. And there's, like Fickell, Dion, and Rule are all in the same boat because they're all hired at the same time.
Yeah.
At least Nebraska's got an identity. I don't know what Wisconsin's identity is.
Well, they tried hiring Phil Longo and changing that identity and being different.
Well,
from
then
what they
stick
were in
with
the
it.
past.
But now they've changed their identity. They don't have an identity. And I don't know where Wisconsin football comes back from. Because I think NIL, this new age, has put Wisconsin football in a bind because of the attitude towards the athletic department and the university with people getting involved.
That people don't want to give money to that because they don't want to support them.
Yeah, there's a lot of negativity towards the University of Wisconsin in Madison. like from the general public.
Is that because of just some of the decisions that they've made, maybe outside of the scope?
It's
of
been well
sports?
written about guys that have covered Wisconsin for a long time. Say, it's athletics is paying a price. And then when you're not winning, people are like,
oh, why? Well, why even help?
Yeah, I mean, do you see the empty seats?
Yeah,
in the fourth quarter,
that was disgusting.
Yeah, that's Wisconsin football.
Real quick too. Here's another demoralizing thing. You remember Xavier Lucas and the fact that he unenrolled from Wisconsin, like outside of the transfer portal, and that was a whole big deal. He's out of Miami right now, killing it.
Well, a lot of people go to Miami and kill it.
That's a good point.
Here is Tim on the Prairie Flower Casino Zone hotline. Good morning, Tim.
Hey, how you doing, guys?
Doing great.
I was just calling in. I'm not sure that I don't believe Rule is going to go anywhere, but I do have a name to drop out there, and I was just wondering your guys' take on it. Is Alex Golich from USF down there? And that's all I got. I'll hang up and
Tim,
I'll listen to your.
Thank you.
It's a good name, and he's done a lot of good things in South Florida. But like, just what Penn State is looking for is very specific.
Oh, I think he's talking Nebraska.
Oh, he's talking about Nebraska.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, would he do that? Well, it'd be funny if you hire another coach.
Or he might be talking about Penn State. He's a good football coach, but
Yeah.
I think the school that's not very far from where he's at right
I
now
was going to say
might
Florida.
have a phone call to break off to him.
Yeah, I think Florida's probably the slam dunk. I think that's the first call you take. You give to him.
I don't think it's the first call.
Okay.
But there's a possibility just because you're familiar with his game.
Sure. Who would be your first call if you're Florida?
Lane Kiffin.
I was about to say Lane. You know, they did that little documentary before he played Ole Miss, and I didn't watch all of it, but I watched part of it. Or before he played LSU, the LSU Ole Miss game, and they got a little close up of his daughter, and his daughter was talking about trying to keep him in Ole Miss. It seemed like he was pretty damn close to leaving for Auburn. And he was like right there. And he kind of he pedaled back a little bit. He was like, oh, there was nothing done and it wasn't for sure going to happen. But then, Landry Kiffin was making it seem like he was basically 1 foot out the door, and she had to put together a slideshow to keep him there.
I don't think he'd want to compete in state with Alabama.
No.
He can compete with Alabama in Oxford, Mississippi. Yeah, I don't know that there are some dysfunctional places that as a football coach, I'm in a good spot that I would run away from. Now, Mike Elko might be changing our opinion about Texas A&M, but at some point the Colt's going to get him. But at Auburn, there are so many different people that are making decisions. The guy that serves you coffee at the coffee shop might have a lot of power at Auburn. I mean, I don't know that I'd be comfortable in that setup.
What do you mean by his opinion?
No. There are people that have a lot of hey, $1 for a holler. Yeah. You spend money, all of a sudden you have a voice at Auburn.
That's wild.
You're like,
that's
hey, I'll give you a $1 but Hugh Freeze got to go. Okay, thank you. Just one of those places, and there's a history there. It's it's been going on for a while.
Should I Venmo Nebraska $50 and say, hey, you can take this, but you got to play Pritchett? Okay, sounds good. 57's in the lineup. Tape up that ankle.
Might take a little bit more than that little.
Maybe $1 million.
Oh.
Offset the cost.
Yeah, that'll be interesting on Friday night of how they handle the tackle position.
Yeah, I think that's during all of the talk of Penn State and Matt Rule, and now we've gotten into stadium talk. We have kind of forgotten the fact that Turner Corcoran was playing tackle at the end of the game against Maryland.
Has Teddy Prohaska played more than 3 snaps in the last 2 weeks?
No.
Okay.
I can look on PFF, but I don't recall seeing him out there.
All right, coming up at the top of the hour, Brian Christopherson stops by, Andy Kendi as well, as we will discuss many things with them when they join us. When we come back, let's talk PJ and not the private jet that may be landing at Duncan Aviation.
Jeez.
Just kidding.
Thank you. Nebraska is visiting Penn State this year, so it's like
they are, and
like
so are some Penn State commitments are visiting Lincoln.
That is a good point. But I'm saying is Matt Rule going to take a private jet out there to meet with Kraft and everything like that? Yeah, it's called the Nebraska football jet with his team on said jet. You'll be out there.
That'll be so awkward.
It will be awkward. It'll be insane. It'll be fun.
I would be as a fan though if I paid money to go see that game and I was anticipating like a big game.
You'd be pissed.
I'd be a little upset.
Yeah,
I'd be really upset. But you might be paying good money to go to Minneapolis and look at PJ Fleck. He had some words yesterday. We have some words about PJ Fleck when you return. Gary and Matt on 1620 The Zone.
They played this at the wedding I was at.
This is a song of the summer. Welcome back in, all Chapel Roan fans out there. It is Gary and Matt on a Tuesday morning. There's Matt. His football team is 3-2. Maybe he'll come around because your next 4 opponents are combined 6-18.
Yes, they are, Gary Sharp. I'm looking at the NFC to playoff picture. But my quarterback, he doesn't lead guys when he throws the football. He's terrible at football.
And yet you guys are still winning.
You can eat it, Troy.
Home field at Soldier Field.
Yeah, damn right, Jimmy Chavez. It comes out now. Mark these dates: December 7th against Green Bay and December 20th against Green Bay. If we can split
I expect you and Joey to get into it.
If we split that, we're looking good. I'm not asking for 2-0. Okay, I'm not asking. I know.
Come on, get your
I know
expectations
some
up.
wishes. I know some wishes are too big to be granted. Okay, I'm just asking for one. Just asking for one. Bears have a better record than the Green Bay Packers in the year of 2025. Because
there it is.
The Bears are 4-2 in 2025.
Just gonna live vicariously through you.
Man, we looked like we were running the ball.
Like
DeAndre Swift looked like Georgia DeAndre Swift yesterday.
What are you guys? 2-2-1? 2-3-1?
Something like they're on their way to their 8-8.
I'm glad you pay attention to your record.
Yeah.
I mean, I thought if you had beaten Carolina, I thought that maybe you would
if
have.
my aunt had a,
yeah. She had wheels, she'd be a bike,
right?
But she's not.
Just gonna sit back and enjoy you guys' teams doing things.
If Jerry had a brain, the Cowboys would be good.
Sean writes in.
Okay.
As someone who lived in Madison, Wisconsin for about 2 years, great town, by the way.
Yes.
Like fun place. It does not surprise me what's going on there. Badger football right now is number 3, soon to be number 4 on what's important to fans. 1, Packers, 2, Brewers in the playoffs, 3, deer hunting.
Yeah.
As Nebraska, who usually plays there in November,
What
found
about the
out.
Bucks?
This is still crazy, though.
No, they shoot the Bucks.
Giannis.
Well, they just added another brother.
Yeah.
So
they have
Alex.
to. Have you ever heard that story of like Jeff Teague truly believes that the Bucks wouldn't have won the championship without Thanasis Antetokounmpo because of how important he was?
Mm-hmm.
I think this is wild that, you pay a lot of attention to the teams that Nebraska's playing in the particular year. The fact that Nebraska and Wisconsin they don't play again until 2027 is wild.
Oh, it's terrible.
So 2 straight years where Nebraska and Wisconsin don't play each other. I mean,
it's interesting. Sean writes that.
we didn't pay attention really to Minnesota last year.
No.
Well,
I mean,
and Minnesota comes off the schedule next year.
Is anyone really paying attention to Rutgers when you're not playing them?
We'll pay attention to them next year.
Well, exactly. And but Washington, right? It feels like you and me have to scream from the mountaintops and find a very good excuse to talk about Jonah Coleman and Devon Williams because you don't play them.
Ed writes in. He said, "Let's play a game," and I'm like, okay, let's play a game. Next year, Nebraska plays in Iowa City.
Okay.
Will the 2 current head coaches of Nebraska and Iowa be the head coaches in that game? No.
Oh,
Indiana, Nebraska do play in Lincoln next year. Yes.
Okay.
Everybody else will be the same. What road game are we going to next year? Oregon?
Probably. I'd like Eugene. So do we want to do the fun game where you try and guess the coaches of the Iowa-Nebraska game next year?
No, but this is a good email. Thank you very much. This leads me into this. So you found this stat. If you've not heard this morning, Nebraska is a 9.5 point favorite now.
That's great.
9.5 point favorite on the road. Okay, so that's 2
wild.
straight games. They've been favored on the road. What is going on in Lincoln?
But they're 2-4 against the spread, by the way. So it's not as if Vegas has been correct in terms of handicapping the Huskers.
So you found this stat. The last time Nebraska on the road was that large of a favorite was?
2019 at Illinois. They were a 10.5 point favorite. That is the game. Wan'Dale Robinson had a lot of both receiving yards and rushing yards. He had 2 touchdowns. J.D. Spielman
that was the
had
opener,
a big
right?
game.
Oh, no.
It was a Friday night.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
They were down 30.
They killed Wan'Dale Robinson in that game. Adrian somehow willed his way. Those two carried Nebraska in that game.
They're down 35-21 with 5 to go in the third. It's probably one of Scott's best wins, if we're being frank. You probably make the argument it might be his best win.
Hear more today on Take 5.
In terms of like
yeah,
obviously,
I'm not discounting. I'm thinking here of the 16 wins.
Maybe he.
Why is that funny?
Fordham.
Why is that funny? You know what was funny? It was
few.
funny to get to 16. Okay, that's not funny. That's the facts.
Where does that rank amongst Fordham and Buffalo and North Dakota?
Bethune-Cookman?
Yeah.
They in there?
Hey, now the Minnesota win in 18 was impressive.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Yeah.
Well, you said the offense looked like how it was supposed to, and it did.
But
Divina Zigbo and Adrian that day. I think I said that at the game. I'm like, this is how this is supposed to look like.
So
the spread on that game in 2018, they were a 4.5-point favorite of that game.
Okay.
I mean, obviously, I think Scott probably had games that had lower spreads that he ended up winning. But talking from like a comeback perspective, comeback 14 when Illinois was controlling that entire game.
Mm-hmm.
Had to get a 2-point conversion to tie it at 35.
All right. So I listened to PJ Fleck speak yesterday.
Yeah.
No making fun of PJ Fleck because man can coach football and he can coach football when it comes to Nebraska. He's 6-1 against Nebraska. The last 3 games have been 1-possession games, and Minnesota's found a way to win. And, PJ is still PJ. It's curious how he talks about Nebraska football. I used to think early on, like he was angling for the Nebraska job's going to be open. He's going to pursue it. His name doesn't show up a lot in the discussion. His agent got to go back to work. But his all these like Arkansas, jobs that are open.
Nowhere.
Yeah, his name isn't showing up. So maybe he's like, you know what? I got some job security here. He is the second longest tenured coach in the Big Ten right now after James Franklin got the Ziggy. But I always thought when he talked about Nebraska, he was always like, okay, that's going to be my job. So I got to say nice things because that's be a job that I'd really like to have. I'd like to put the oar on the Nebraska helmet. People would love me down there. It'd be great. I would be out on the Niobrara with my paddle and people like, this is the greatest thing since Osborne.
If he won football games.
But I think he thought Frost was kind of
wishy-washy.
Yeah.
No,
do you
think
like,
there's a world that with PJ Fleck's personality and Frost's personality that they would like get along?
And I think he thought, you know what? I want to beat Frost more than anything. Now we understand him and Rule have a good relationship. Mm-hmm. They went to Kenny Chesney together. I mean, I think once you've gone to Kenny Chesney with another person, you're friends for life.
Forever. Yeah.
You think
they went to Kenny Chesney together.
They were arm in arm singing Get Along?
I don't think they were arm in arm, but I bet the wives were having a good time. And the 2 Big Ten coaches were talking ball, y'all. So Fleck talked yesterday, and he does have great respect for Nebraska. He always has a good knowledge of the history of Nebraska football, so I appreciate him for that. But he is 6-1 against Nebraska, and he's been a thorn in Nebraska's side. Who would you rather beat? PJ Fleck or Kirk Ferentz?
Kirk.
Okay, not even a hesitation.
Because it's Iowa. Because I can't stand Iowa.
All right, I know. I'm probably right there with you.
Yeah,
but
PJ's close.
Those are 2 guys that Nebraska plays on a semi-regular basis that get under people's skin. And I think after last year's game in Iowa City, Kirk just stands above PJ in this discussion, and it's not going to change.
But if Kirk were to leave, right, and he retires, I don't think it matters what coach. Like, I don't think Iowa's a rivalry to the point where it doesn't matter what coach they hire, you hate them.
Yeah.
I think if Kirk leaves, PJ would be number 1 on that list, which is why I think it's a damn shame Nebraska doesn't play Minnesota every single season. I think that'd be great. I think that'd be fun. I like Minneapolis.
I think the obnoxiousness of Fleck is based on if he respects Nebraska football or not.
Like people debate that of whether or not he does.
No, I think, so Andy Reid.
Yeah.
I can tell when Andy Reid is aggressive, how it determines if he respects the opponent.
Oh, sure. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think the over-the-top Fleck is, I know I got Nebraska. I got Nebraska. Like you watched him yesterday, and he didn't get it. Granted, they're 4-2, and they don't really have a big win, and they just got run over by Purdue, but they won the game. And I don't know. They don't look like normal Minnesota, and maybe we're getting to the expiration date. I'm on the 10-year rule.
Oh, yeah.
Not Matt Rule, but It's
Right.
college football coaches. You got 10 years and get out.
Yeah.
Okay. James Franklin, you went too long.
Yeah. They start moving the goalposts.
But the 10-year rule is real when it comes to college athletics. I like Fleck was very complimentary. He likes Rule. They spend time together.
Very much so.
So I think he's like, I can see Nebraska. I thought when he's been over the top on some of these Mondays before Nebraska, it's like Nebraska's not in a good spot. We're a better program right now than Nebraska. Hey, come in and watch the cutback lanes. Watch us do that. Okay. Yeah. We're going to run you into the ground, and I hope your guys wear hoodies while they're warming up and it becomes hoodie gate.
Man, did you see how he celebrated in 2022 when they beat him on the field on the Casey that was the Logan Smothers doesn't scramble for the first down game? How I was right on the sideline. I was on the field. I'm looking toward the sideline. He did, like, I don't know if I've seen a man that age run that fast. Like he went out there and he celebrated he wanted that win. And I think he wanted people to know that he wanted that.
Well, have you ever seen him ever seen a Minnesota game in person?
No, I haven't.
So he leads them on the field.
Yeah.
So just like Dabo, it's like the head coach and Fleck, who's in really good shape.
Yeah.
He sprints.
Okay.
Like he might have a better 40 time than some of his players, which is not a good look.
He's a fast guy.
But yeah, that's like his thing. That's his thing.
I got that vibe yesterday though. When somebody asks him, they were trying to ask about the history of Nebraska football and how quick was he to shoot that down. He was like, no. We're not talking about the Nebraska football I beat.
Yeah.
We're talking about the Nebraska football team that's led by Matt Rule.
That's
there's a difference.
So I posed a question to Sam. Like I watched Minnesota play this year and then you watch Nebraska play and it's almost like they flip the identity. Well, I think Minnesota is still searching for an identity. Like the identity that has carried Fleck to some success. Still living off that 19 year, but but what if this year goes south? But they don't have. So they've always been. We run the ball. We're physical. We do well in the line of scrimmage, and we don't beat ourselves. They don't run the ball real well. They've got injuries. Taylor has got to be really good for them to win. Taylor has to be a better running back than Emmett Johnson. On Friday night. So it's almost like they flip roles with Nebraska, where Nebraska's not necessarily beating themselves. Their turnover margin is almost similar. Mm-hmm. And how many times since Fleck's been in Minnesota when they played this game, except for the opener 2 years ago, has the turnover margin been very close?
Yeah.
So Minnesota's still searching for something, and I think we know more about Nebraska's identity in 25 than we do about Minnesota. So it's almost like they flip roles in the dark of the night.
It's interesting because I don't think that Nebraska is as physical or as dominant in the run game that peak Minnesota has been. But if I told you 2 years ago, hey, Matt Rule's going to come back to Minnesota and he's going to bring the more physical football team, what do you think that would tell you of the Nebraska football program? It would tell you, hey, you're probably moving in the right direction.
Yeah, and I would ask a hard question about Minnesota. The one thing I brought up to somebody, did we bring this up on Big Red Overreaction? Maryland played through the whistle, right?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
And they got penalized for it.
Why doesn't Nebraska have somebody outside of V9 that is a hit sticker?
Well, D. Jones is. But
hit stick with bad intentions. Like I said last week, I like some more emotion. All right, let's get after it. Let's have some emotion.
You were on it.
Hit stick, broke dick. Does Nebraska have many of those guys?
No, they don't.
Okay,
they don't. And Guthrie tries to be that guy, but the problem is that Guthrie's never in the right position to be that guy. So he just throws his helmet into air, and then the guy just runs right by him. And you're like, Rex, what are you doing? So I credit him for trying. This would be a great next when we have Jay on tomorrow. That's something that you should ask him about because who would fit the role of hit stick, broke dick? No, I think it's more so. Is that just like a mental thing? Is that just like they're
like to be a BA on the field?
Yeah, they're just some guys who are just crazy like that, and they just like Cam Scadaboo. Like I don't think Cam Scadaboo one day just chose to put his helmet into another dude's helmet.
Maybe Nebraska has too many nice guys. They don't have enough guys that live on the edge. You know, that grew up in a shanty and they slept on a dirt floor for 18 years. And their only way out is to come to Nebraska and get to the NFL, and nobody's going to stop them. And they're going to be reckless, and they're just going to ruin people, and they're going to win football games and go to the NFL. Maybe we need to recruit more of those guys.
Maybe we need less training facility kids. Less kids who pay the seriously. Less kids who pay the $400 a month.
Too much.
No,
Nebraska
seriously.
needs more kids that come from a broken home.
Okay, Dion. All right. Dion said that. He got in a lot of trouble for that. You remember that? He goes, I want my O lineman coming from a 2-parent home, nice place. And then I want my D lineman coming from I'm quoting Dion, by the way. He said that he wanted his D lineman to have single mothers. Just crazy quote. You're kind of going down that path right now.
You just compare him to Dion?
We've had this. You can actually, I don't mean to make this is funny, and you're kind of like, we're making points, but we're also joking, but this could be a little bit more serious here. Like with basketball has kind of gone
nothing
through,
about that.
Basketball has kind of gone through the same thing where you have less kids who are you have more kids who are like training the game and less kids who are like playing the game.
Okay.
Right. Like the kids aren't really going to Rucker Park anymore, bringing their basketball, and running 2s and 3s and like learning how to play the game in that way. They're going to, AAU and they're going to these training facilities. And it's like, you've lost some of those like skills that maybe you would have had in the early 2000s in terms of basketball. Like you could,
I mean, Rucker Park is still packed. Not everybody can afford to play AAU basketball. No, so they've got to play. They've got to play basketball like they've grown up, where they find games and they play.
But you have less of those kids. Is what I'm saying. You have less of that. Well, what did Stephon Marbury said? A New York point guard where that would rather lose his chain and lose his girl than lose his dribble. That's
how it should be.
You got less and less guys like that.
I think I'd be a good recruiter that way.
We need more Stephon Marburys, is what I'm trying to say.
I'd find guys that don't have the chain, don't have a girl. All they do is they got a handle.
That's me, Matt McMedia. Follow me on Twitter.
Yeah.
That would have been a good symbol right there. I need a symbol, man. Yeah. I need my own button where I can just hit my symbol.
I believe that was a turnover. Okay. Brian Christopherson and Andy Kendi coming up in the last hour.
That was a moving screen.
It's going to be a point of emphasis again this year. Boy, you hear that all the time. Hey, Creighton, preseason 23rd. Hope nobody, I don't think fans do. I hope administration don't take for granted that Creighton basketball, 4th straight year, they've been ranked in the preseason. 23. But Ken Palm doesn't like him. I don't know what Mac did to piss off Ken Palm. He's like, 41st, take that. No NCAA tournament for you.
You think Greg picks up the phone, calls Ken, fix your numbers, fix your equations.
What if Nebraska and Creighton went back-to-back winning the crown? Discuss amongst yourselves. I'll talk to Scott and many more when we return after this on 1620 The Zone. All right, this week's half-off deal, Backlot Sports plus Bar, located inside the ACX Cinema 12 Plus in Elkhorn. Your new favorite hangout, big games, big screens, best food. Stop by Backlot Sports plus Bar for yourself today. Detroit-style pizza, among others. The French dip, according to Mayor Mike out in Gretna. So be listening all week long for a chance to win gift vouchers. For more information on the half-off deal, the Backlot Sports plus Bar, go to 1620thezone.com. We go to the phones. Here is Scott. Good morning, Scott.
Gary, I couldn't agree with you more. I want every member of my defense with bad intentions.
Thank you.
I miss the old school flex where the defense drove the offensive player backwards, landed on him, and used his helmet to get up off the ground.
I like this.
Just absolutely. I had a mean high school coach. He used to call them snot knockers.
Oh, I like that.
Absolutely miss every bad intention ever. Football is meant to be played with aggression.
Nice. I like where we're going, Scott. I like it. I like it. You know who might have bad intentions? Because he drove his face into the ground. He was never the same. And they actually broke him. Elijah Judy. When he sacked Aiden Childs. Childs' face went down on the field turf. Childs hasn't been the same since. Elijah Judy may have broken Michigan State. I'm not advocating a 15-yard penalty, but I would like just
be a bit meaner. Yeah.
Blow some guys up. Okay.
Is this generation too soft? Coming up next on Take 5. I mean, there's I get what you're saying.
That those players will do 2 Thanksgivings.
I totally understand what you're getting at. And I'm not going to sit here and be like, no, I don't want my guys to be tough and be physical and be intimidating. At the same time, if you're leading in metrics and you're like not giving up a lot of points per game and your EPA per play is really, really low and like you are affecting the game in a manner that's winning, I really don't care how you do it. Okay. You could be out there at 2-2s doing it. I don't care if you give up 7 points per game.
Okay, so let me ask you this question here, because this was brought up and we haven't addressed this yet.
Sure.
Should somebody have come to the defense of Dylan?
Yes, 1,000,000%.
Okay.
Without it,
I don't even have to say anymore.
No.
I had it on the list on the Big Red Overreaction, and Nebraska won, so we didn't really get to it. We didn't get to it yesterday because Penn State fired James Franklin. Pat Kraft, understand our show rundown. Okay. I was just curious.
Okay.
Did anybody else? So what I'm mentioning is when Dylan got escorted to the turf.
Yeah.
That's how I would say it if I was Maryland.
He got rocked.
I would say he was escorted to the turf and then he was knocked down again. Should there have been somebody that came out of the fifth row that reminded the guy from Maryland of, you don't do that to our quarterback?
You talk about like,
should there have been like the tap on the shoulder by Gabbs and he says, Andre Schuster, if you know, you know, out there,
go get one.
Yeah. And then all of a sudden the gloves are dropped and it's haymakers everywhere. 5 minutes for fighting and a game misconduct.
You talk about you're not advocating for a 15-yard penalty.
Yeah.
I'm advocating for a 15-yard penalty there. I'm advocating.
Was it a surprise to people? I know I'm kind of presenting this, you know.
Yeah.
But is it a surprise to anyone that like even like the fifth string guy off the bench said, not today. That's my quarterback.
It is a surprise.
Okay.
He's
glad we're not alone here.
He is your captain. He is a captain on the team. He is your quarterback. He is undeniably your most important player on the team. He literally, first off, he got hurt to begin with on the first hit, and then he gets rocked again on the second hit, and there's nobody going to go and like I'm not even saying you got to kick his ass. Like, go ahead and get in his face and be like, hey, you don't
nobody
do that.
From the sideline. Like,
no,
not coming on the field, but like a little bit.
Nothing. There was zero. It's a little. Look, I'm not going to take a 15-second snapshot.
This sounds like a take 5.
No.
It's going to be a take 5.
Series.
I'm not looking at a 15-second snapshot and saying, "Oh, they got a problem with the
Part
culture."
1 of 5.
I'm not saying that at all. But I was a little bothered by the fact that nobody didn't go up to him and be like, "Hey, you don't flip and do that to our guy. You don't touch our guy."
Or
you don't
later
take a
in the
cheap
game,
shot.
you pancake him and you stand over him.
Yeah.
You need to make better choices, sir.
Exactly. I'm glad you asked that.
Because this will be one of those games. There'll be a lot of emotion Friday night.
You better
lots of emotion. I'm okay with somebody getting their bell rung and just reminding them. I'm not saying get 15 yards, but
you don't think Mike Eckler is saying to somebody, you don't think Mike Eckler's tapping the shoulder on somebody on special teams on the first kickoff and saying, hey, just go and hit a dude. Just go and hit a guy.
I'll pay the fine.
I mean, I know it's a hockey thing, but I've been told, and one of my favorite moments in my hockey playing career was my coach just goes, hey, go ahead and hit some guy really, really hard to begin this game. That was sick. Like that's a mental thing.
We'll talk about Emmett Johnson hitting holes.
Well,
that OPI, by the way, is so bad. I bet the officials when they went back and watched it, they're like, yeah, incidental contact. All right, Brian Christopherson joins us next. Talk about his trip to Maryland and now his trip to his beloved Twin Cities. And who will be starting at quarterback for his favorite team? JJ is healthy. Controversy in Minnesota.
He ain't playing. Carson.
Vikings, Eagles. A lot of people are sticking around up in the Twin Cities, Husker fans.
That'd be awesome.
Going to the Husker game on Friday, going to Twin Cities Pumpkin Patch on Saturday, and then going to see the Vikings and the Eagles have a nooner at US Bank.
Go Eagles, baby. Right. Go Eagles.
Chat with BC coming next. All right, worldwide traveler from the East Coast back to Nebraska, then up to the Twin Cities from Husker 24/7. It is Brian Christopherson. Good morning, BC.
Good morning, guys. How you doing?
Good. How are you doing? How was your trip? Your quick trip, I should say, out east.
Yeah, it was workmanlike. I got to my hotel at 1 a.m. Wee hours of Saturday. Took an Uber to the stadium, wrote a few stories, took an Uber back, slept 4 hours, took an Uber to the airport. So that's it. I didn't hang out with any Ravens or Orioles players or anything Friday night.
Hey, I saw that. So the Rams played the Ravens, and the Rams are going over to London this upcoming weekend, but they're practicing at Camden Yards.
Oh, wow.
Prior to leaving, and I saw a picture yesterday. Their football lines down in the outfield at Camden Yards. It's pretty unique. So we'll get to some of the things that happened on Saturday, but of course we have to talk about what happened yesterday. What was your anything that was said concerning Penn State or the future of where Nebraska could be financially to compete that stood out to you that you went, this might be a 24/7 daily nugget that you put out in the morning or a column?
I thought the takeaway quote was Sam asked a good second question about the resources sort of or connected at that. That's where the answer went, at least. And he had that line about, in this world of, $30 million or $40 million rosters, sometimes that's not seen as the Nebraska way, but I'd like it to be. And that quote and his answer there, to me, was the thing to circle in our neck of the woods. What's interesting is I think that's what a lot of Nebraska people sort of latched onto and took as a focal point from that part of the press conference is, well, this could be an opportunity for Rule to see that he could leverage this to help build up that money pot to help Nebraska in some of these portal battles that we've seen them in over the years. And I think that was what people were kind of hoping was the main takeaway. And then you kind of saw elsewhere national guys sort of, and I don't want to rip them, but some of the drive-by one-line tweets about from a snippet quote from the press conference, they just don't do in those sort of situations. So I think the story carried outside our bubble in a different way than maybe some people in Nebraska received it, or at least hoped they were reading it correctly with that part I'm talking about.
Yeah, I think Pete Nakos had 9 ellipses when quoting something that Matt Rule said at the press conference, which was absolutely incredible. Also, too, before I ask you my question, I just want to you're welcome for choking the week 1 game at Soldier Field. It's okay.
I'm sorry,
you
BC.
don't have to pay us back or anything like that. All right, just feel threatened, but you're welcome. No problem. Don't have to mention it ever again. You're Brian. You're very connected in the world, and I'm sure that maybe you have talked to Penn State writers or the Penn State 24/7 guys, or have maybe gotten a lay of what they're talking about in the East Coast. If you have, could you reveal anything of maybe what you've heard and what are kind of people that are more boots on the ground over there mentioning, not just about Matt Rule, but just the job search in general?
I think, generally speaking, this is just based off sort of our Penn State message board and the guys who cover them. Rule is not like the top guy on the fans list. You guys have probably sensed that.
Yeah.
And that's because, and I'm not saying this is a fair take, because Rule's record against top 25 teams and all that stuff is all based off of teams he's had that are in the building process of usually trying to get there. And then after year 3, he's left. So we haven't really seen Rule with a program where they're sort of the Goliath, right? Where they're in that year 4, 5, 6, and you feel like they're supposed to win this game as a top 10, top 15 team. But nonetheless, his record against ranked teams is going to be a quick snapshot that people pull out to say, well, why are we going to get rid of James Franklin? And we got the guy with the exact same problem, So I think that's sort of the early take on Rule from Penn State fans. That said, I think, Rule, as he's proven here, he can sell well. Like he's a guy who gets up on the podium and can make you believe and make the congregation get behind him in a hurry. And so some of that, like I kind of bat to the side, and it's like I don't care, because if Pat Kraft and others think he fits that are the important people in the world there, well, then let's keep paying attention to this thing. So again, we're in that early stage where I don't know what to make of some of like the first hour reports. I mean, the dirt wasn't even over James Franklin, and you've got like pictures of like Matt Rule from some guys like in the first half hour afterward. And some of that stuff, I honestly think, guys, again, I don't want to knock people, but I think there's like a reporter calls a quote unquote industry insider, like an agent or something, and the guy needs to say something. And so he says what a lot of us would say, just common sense wise. Well, Rule's got a tight connection with Kraft, and I'd put him top of the list, and two guys say it and suddenly it's out there. And so I do think a little of that happens the first 24 hours.
Let's talk about one of the others. I want to shift to the Nebraska-Minnesota game, and we will drop in some stuff from this past Saturday. But Emmett Johnson's going to be a main focus. I don't think it's any secret that they are making him a captain because he gets to go home, and he's made this game personal because he wasn't recruited by the in-state school, even though he was the running back of the year, player of the year in the state of Minnesota his senior year, and Nebraska gave him opportunity. I didn't think 2 years ago he was a Big Ten running back. He has proved me and I think others wrong. So off of an Amir-like run and a big night at Maryland, 23 touches, we lost our mind when he touched it 32 times on the opening game. Like, what moving forward do you think is realistic on a weekly basis for Emmett? Because we are 13 for 83 2 weeks ago, 21 of 176. We're going home Friday night. We expect a big night. Like, what moving forward in the second half of the year is a typical line for Emmett that Nebraska needs to live with or has to have to live with?
16 to 20 rushes for trying to hit that century mark. And I think it's doable. And then anything on top of that, obviously, is gravy, and he's certainly capable of it. You know this well, and you framed it very, very nicely in the question. Emmett's a guy who does carry a chip on his shoulder about past things that have happened or slights that he sees, like in his recruiting process. And he has never forgotten that Minnesota didn't offer him. And he's brought it up in multiple interviews, and that's always been a big deal to him. And so make no mistake, he's going to go to that game wanting to prove a point and have a big day. He's had that date circled. But I just thought his performance Saturday was inspired. It really was. Like, it was one of those, that drive when they're down 7, the 50-yard run was sensational, of course. But that 10-yard play he had on the screen on 2nd and long when they were backed up after the holding and like back at their own 15-yard line or so, that to me was one of the top 3 plays of the game. That should have been a nothing. And he got him to 3rd and 4. They were able to convert. And I think that was a play, and the Desan McCullough 4-yard loss to start the fourth quarter. Those are the unsung plays of that game to me. That lifted that sideline up. It got that crowd believing over on that side of the field, which we were all writing and talking about afterward. And Emmett was a big part of that. I think Emmett's just sort of like, we're not going down today, guys, mindset carried over to others. And so hopefully he brings that to Minnesota. And I'm assuming he will, knowing his connection with this program.
I loved Rule's quote yesterday, talking about when he first got to the program and getting a winning mentality within the culture, right? He said he had to do brain surgery, and they were down 7 at Colorado, and he was like, everyone thought the game was over. He was like, this is crazy. And now it's seemingly after the last 2 wins, I don't think you can deny he's successfully done it. They've been down, in the second half, and they end up winning both games by close margins. Do you now think, now that they're 5-1, now that they're ranked, they're going on the road, they're favored by 9.5 points, winning a game like this is the next evolution of the culture of, okay, we have now gotten past the woe is me, head is down, this game's over. Now it's the, okay, you've won and there are expectations and now you go on the road and you win. Do you think this is the next step?
Yeah, it has to be. I mean, the stat that he even gave yesterday is incredible to say out loud, that Nebraska hasn't won back-to-back road games since 2006. I mean, that's bonkers to go back that far. And now you need to see, you saw a team that had the maturity to handle a couple days in Maryland and, kind of get past themselves in a way, like, give Maryland credit. They made some plays to be in that position, but Nebraska also going -3, giving up a 17 points in the turnover column to pull together and win that, I think was a major step. So you've crossed off a few of these boxes. You're starting to cross off the close game narrative. You crossed off that the chart that was not funny, but it was like you almost had to laugh. It was so painful at how many of their last drives when behind had failed and how just utterly hapless they had been, to actually have a last drive like that where not only do you score, but your QB, who had a rough day, like makes his like 3 or 4 best plays of the entire game on that drive. So there's another check. And so to what you're saying, Matt, this is that next box. You're going against a Minnesota team that has beat you 5 times in a row, and nobody has used an opposing program like a trampoline better than PJ Fleck has with Nebraska. I mean, if you go back and dissect, they've won the last 5, 6 of the last 7. Go look in some of those years where Minnesota's season was at that moment and what was sort of on the line for them. They were sometimes in precarious spots, and they would win that game. And I know you guys in the last segment were talking about who would you rather get the better of, Fleck or Ferentz. 2 programs really that have changed the narrative or how their seasons have been viewed for like 5 to 8 years because of Nebraska and getting the better of them. And so that's part of what's on the line too. Like, it's about lifting yourself up, and honestly, it's about knocking some people down that have gone ahead of you because you've allowed them to win these kind of games.
Brian Christopherson from Husker 24/7 joining us. And PJ Fleck talked about it yesterday. Minnesota has been a team that has started slow. They've found a way to finish when they've had the ability to win football games. Nebraska has started fast. They've outscored their opponents 47-13 in the first quarter. At the back end, they've outscored their opponents 65-16. But there's that third quarter after halftime, they're being outscored 52-42. But the last couple of weeks, what do you think is the difference between the first and fourth quarter compared to the second and third quarter?
Yeah, I don't know. There's just been that lack of consistency. I guess you got to say to that question, you got to look at the elements in that game against Michigan State. I do think the win factor and that they were against it sort of played a part in how that game went. Nonetheless, it is a little bit of a trend that you have to stop in its place right now. And Dylan said that after the game. Rule said he's a stone cold winner, and Ryla said, "Yeah, that's good, but I don't want to have to do it the exact way I did it this week. Like it shouldn't have to wait until that fourth quarter." And so I like that he took ownership of it. There were some throws that obviously he'd want back that I think probably played a pretty big part in the very question you're asking. Like, if Nebraska goes down on a drive or two there and scores, like on the one where he's trying to throw it away, if that ball gets to the sideline, or if you're able to go put together a drive, but to what Matt's saying too, that's an evolution as a program you want to see, where when Nebraska's got a team like 24-14 and you've got the ball, it does feel like that's been the missing piece for a long time, where Nebraska hasn't had that drive that it's the step on throat drive. And the other side knows, okay, it's not going to be our day today. And so that's what you'd love to see Friday, is if they get a lead early, they have that moment with 5 minutes left in the second quarter, you capitalize there and make it clear who's going to have this one.
So the offensive line, I think a lot of people were very worried about playing Maryland with how good they were in the pass rush heading into the game. But they had a very good game, and they got a lot of push too when it came to the run game. Do you, going back and watching that the game against Maryland, Brian, in your opinion, did their improved performance, was that just them playing better, or do you think that the scheme of the game and the sequence of play callings and just how they put themselves in front of the sticks and whatnot had more to do with the improved performance of the O-line?
It was a combination of both, I think. I think they did play better, but I also think it was the scheme and, Nebraska sort of going back and saying, you know what? Look at Emmett's numbers, even within the sort of discussion of, no, they can't run the ball. Emmett's numbers are actually like 6 yards a pop, and there's stuff being done there. Let's focus on this and maybe highlight a few things we know we're really good at. And I think that's what happened in that game. They realized, like, we got to feed Emmett a little bit more because the numbers are showing that he was getting it done even before the game in Maryland. Now he took it up a notch, no doubt about it. But I did think the O-line, though, improved, and that had to be a confidence boosting game for them because, we're not going to make Maryland out to be something they aren't, but they did come in with the talk about having 19 sacks to their name, and they got after QBs. And, I think Nebraska looked at that defensive front and said, they are gifted with some pass rushers, but they also have two freshmen on the edges. Let's see what they're made of if we try to lean on them a little bit more. And I think you saw that it worked out pretty well.
What do you think they do at tackle Friday night?
I don't know yet. It'd be interesting to see. Dana sometimes will give you a little bit more on like how a guy, he will occasionally tell you what's going on. I don't know if he will this case, but I thought Corcoran did all right, coming in there for that situation with Pritchett. I know he was dealing with the rolled ankle and all that. I would think they maybe go with Pritchett still if he's fully ready and he's 100, but that's the question. So we'll see how that tracks over the week. I'm curious if there's any other bumps and bruises to watch as we go through that. That was a physical game up there on Saturday. That one possession where Maryland scored to tie it, I guess, that looked bad for Nebraska football in a lot of ways, because it wasn't just that they were, making it a game again. It was also that Shavers went down, McCullough went down, Singleton went down. All of them popped back up and played to finish, but that's one of those where you're kind of curious how guys were really feeling Sunday and Monday, because there were some guys who had to limp off the field.
Great stuff, BC. Look forward to the coverage the entire week, and safe travels up to the Twin Cities. Are you sticking around all weekend up there?
No, in fact, I might try to get back for hoops, so it could be a very early wake up call Saturday. But I know Matt, I already heard say go Eagles. He should go wash his mouth out with soap right now.
No, I shouldn't.
That's a good comeback.
No, I shouldn't. They're gonna bounce back week for the Eagles, baby.
Yeah, Matt's walking tall today. I can tell.
Damn right I am, Brian.
Give it time.
It happens.
I am. Of course
it happens. You'll get your turn. BC, as always, I appreciate it. Thank you.
You're the best, BC.
Thanks.
So the Nebraska-Minnesota game is not sold out, but the Nebraska-BYU basketball game is like 600 tickets away from being sold out, and that's an exhibition game.
That's crazy.
Must be a basketball school.
Road trip?
No, it's a terrible investment, Gary. It's an awful investment. It's a waste of money, according to some people.
For Nebraska basketball?
Yeah, it's a complete waste of money. What a bad investment Nebraska basketball is.
And I want my money back. Those
being
tickets were a little expensive this year.
Yeah, I'm being sarcastic about someone I got into an argument with.
About Nebraska basketball?
Yeah.
Why?
Because I like Nebraska basketball.
So you gotta apologize for liking Nebraska basketball?
Yeah, I had to. Somehow in the summer I had to defend their honor.
I mean, did they not know they're the crown champs?
Did they not go to the Hy-Vee championship tour?
They have to defend.
Do they not know how people are going to get triggered when they walk into the building on Saturday and there is no crown banner?
Well,
but they'll be like, but look at the floor. We gave you the floor.
How do you feel about that? About being no crown banner? Do you not care? Or you don't have an opinion on it, or you wish there was?
I don't think there's room.
Yeah. But can you not just put it under the NIT thing and just be like asterisk crown? Maybe you put the year and then a little crown up above the 2025.
It would ruin my joke about Nebraska has the apple orchard.
What's that?
So I once made that comment
You
to
didn't know
Coach
this?
Nee.
Yeah.
When
I
Nebraska
didn't know.
was winning the NIT, and the NIT was a big deal, and they actually won the NIT championship, and they
Yeah.
had banners up in the Devaney Center.
Okay.
I said, Coach, it looks like the apple orchard because they got all these NIT banners. He didn't like that. He quickly reminded me that he, in the 90s had gone to the NCAA tournament quite a bit. And I said, yeah, but
You got some bad words.
yeah, but how about winning a game?
How about it?
How about it, Coach? God,
That'd be a crazy take.
I miss Coach Nee, man. All right, we'll take a break. We'll come back. Yeah, lots of so it looks like the student section is sold out, or you can't buy tickets for the student section at Huntington Bank. Great place to watch a game. Beautiful, especially if you're in that end.
Okay.
You're in the closed end. You can look into downtown Minneapolis.
Is that still part of the stadium project? They're going to move the student section into the back of the end zone. Is that still
in Nebraska?
Yeah.
I think so.
Okay. People are very excited about that.
To move to the end zone?
Yeah.
If they're sitting like on the 20-yard line?
Yeah. There are a lot of we could when the time comes, we can have a very candid conversation about the student section at Nebraska and its maybe shortcomings at times.
I don't know. Most of them already sit in the end zone.
Yeah, but it's a pain in the butt getting up there.
Are they going to move the band
And
so they open up some priority seats?
No, God, no.
Put the band in the end zone.
No,
Why not?
No, let the band
Put the
be where
band right
is.
behind the goalposts in the end zone.
We love the band.
That doesn't mean I don't care. You can move them. I think they'd have more of an impact. Right behind the end zone.
Do. Like that?
Hey, is the Nebraska band going to be in Minnesota?
No.
All right.
I don't think
Andy
so.
Kendi is going to join us. He will be in Minnesota. He'll join us before the show is over on 1620 The Zone. Best coach in college football right now is
Dan Lanning. Kurt Signetti.
Can I put in Can I just throw something out there?
Kirby Smart.
The best coach in college football right now.
Yeah.
Ryan Day.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's fine, too.
All right.
There's a lot of good options.
People forget about Ryan Day. I'm just reminding people that Ryan Day is now, 76-10?
They look great against Illinois. They looked like they were playing with their food a little bit. I mean, and granted, Illinois, like, they put up a fight. Like, I think Illinois is better. I think there are a lot of people who were trying to be look at me, I'm so smart. I'm out on Illinois, and they haven't admitted that maybe they were wrong. Illinois is better than maybe those people anticipated, but Ohio State is so good. That defense is incredible.
You know what would look good if y'all won the week 6 of the 4-quarter pick'em. It's open now. Go to 1620thezone.com. Make your picks to get a piece of the prize.
I wonder how we're doing.
Are you ready for October 14th?
Oh, this is fun. Yes, you teased this segment.
Okay, so 22 years ago today,
Apartment.
The Chicago Cubs were 5 outs away from winning a game that they would have gone to the World Series.
Bernie Mac just saying.
Yeah.
Oh, I'll never.
Then
forget.
all of a sudden, there was a pop-up. We're in Game 6 of the 2003 NLCS. He didn't deserve the blame. The Cubs blew it, but he got the blame. It's the Steve Bartman game.
Yes.
22 years ago today. Okay.
Those seats no longer there.
Yep, they have gotten rid of the Bartman seat.
I mean, it was like a tourist attraction within the federal landmark. It was incredible.
Sparked a collapse that made Alex Gonzalez fumble what would have been a double play ball, but people forget about that. But you remember, the Cubs gave Bartman a World Series ring.
Yes, because they nearly ruined his life.
I don't think the Chicago Cubs did.
Yes.
I think our fan base did. But it was a pretty good Halloween costume I had. Again, when it happened, I went into silence. I didn't talk to anybody.
You just did your
went
radio
on a road trip for football and didn't talk to anybody because I was still upset about it.
Yeah. Wait till I show up as Shaka Smart in a couple of weeks.
Okay.
That'd be great.
Good luck on that one. But on this date, there is a lot of baseball history.
Cubs and Sox played in a World Series game once on this date.
1905?
Something like
Ordonez. So Chris Chambliss hit the home run against the Royals in 76.
Mm-hmm.
In 1985, might be the last good moment for Cardinal fans.
Go crazy, folks.
You went crazy. That was the go crazy call on the Ozzie Smith home run. Also, 1992.
Yes.
This is for Odson. The Sid Bream slide, and Atlanta beats Pittsburgh.
Yes.
And then one of the most epic bat flips of all time happened on this date back in 2015. Jose Bautista, Toronto and Texas.
He got his later.
Hit the home run and launched his bat all the way back to the U.S.
That is one of the best non-Cubs games I've watched in my life.
Happer would like that year.
That was an incredible game. The bat flip, the weird play too that scored the run off of was it a timeout? Was it not a timeout? Was the ball still in play?
Shout out Ronette Odor.
Oh, yes. Great name, Jimmy. That was
Jose Bautista.
I remember. So that was 2015, and my dad and I are watching that game, and the Cubs are in the CS against the Mets.
Yeah.
And he goes, I don't want to face either of those teams. It's like, I don't want. And he goes, if the Cubs played either of those teams, they would lose. They would lose that series.
Ed says, wasn't the Ferris Bueller's Day Off seat in the 86 movie, wasn't that in the same section?
Ooh.
Yes.
Oh.
Now there's a trivia.
See,
that's a nugget of all nuggets.
Yeah, I've seen that movie once.
Yeah.
Yeah,
the score was nothing.
You're required as a Chicagoan to watch all movies that are based in Chicago.
No, I actually probably in a Chicago.
Blues Brothers?
I had no
Adventures in Babysitting.
Great movie. Love Thor.
Did you watch that?
Loved Elizabeth Shue.
Adventures of Babysitting. Yes.
Yeah.
Blues Brothers or no? I know you got mad at me
Whoa.
about this before. I know we've already done this.
I forgot that.
We already did this.
What about one of my favorite movies of all time? And I will fight anybody that wants to get into this discussion. It is I was very, very sad because I was in a relationship at the time when I was a little bit younger.
The Fugitive?
I was like really young. This is like this is
Chicago?
no. This is
It's a
like one of
great
those.
movie.
This is like one of those like junior high relationships.
Okay.
About Last Night.
Oh!
The original About Last Night. I cry when John Waite starts singing nowadays because of the song in that movie.
Damn, that's a good one.
You not seen About Last Night?
I haven't.
Jim Belushi, Rob Lowe,
No.
Demi Moore.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All of John Hughes's movies.
Yeah.
Not throwing shade.
So of the movies, since you're from Chicago, you're supposed to watch. Have you watched The Fugitive?
Yes, I have.
Okay.
Long
all
time
right.
ago. But was the package. Remember the package?
I'm going to need more than just you talking
Gene
about
Hackman.
the package.
Yeah, out of
Gene
context.
Hackman.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Was
okay.
that in Chicago? I thought that was in Chicago.
Not sure.
I don't know if it was based in Chicago or was shot
Yeah.
in Chicago. I think
Home
it was
Alone?
shot in Chicago. Yes,
Yeah.
obviously.
Okay. Hoop Dreams.
Oh my god.
Hey, Mission Impossible. Damn
Hoop
Gideons.
Dreams. God.
That's true.
I ended
Uncle
up,
Buck. But he also another great movie. And I won't fight you as hard as I will about Last Night. About Last Night, I can
That's
almost.
a good movie.
God, that was a great movie.
Damn.
I cried.
I
Okay.
get it.
I've never
I
seen
get
Okay.
it.
All right.
You're
That was my Jenny Layden situation.
Totally get this.
Yeah. And then I watched About Last Night and I cried. And I'm like, oh, I'm morphing into an adult as a preteen. Running Scared. Billy Crystal, Gregory Hines.
Yes.
Based in Chicago.
Okay.
These are all before you were ever.
the Dark Knight.
Yes. Yes. Planes, Trains, and Automobiles had a Chicago flair to it. The Sting.
The Sting is such a good movie.
Death
Real
Wish.
quick, you'll like this. Hoop Dreams. I was lucky enough to meet and work with somebody who was in Hoop Dreams.
Okay.
David Kaplan. And so I met Cap for the first time, and the first thing I said to Cap was, "You were great in Hoop Dreams."
Mhm.
And he started talking about it, and he gave me like insight on how that whole process was, and like all the hours of interviews he had to do, and all like the different guys he knew and stuff like that. It was awesome. Just talked about Hoop Dreams for 20 minutes. What a great documentary. God.
Was former Nebraska guard Clifford Scales. Played at St. Joe's.
God, St. Joe's was such a wagon.
Was it Westchester St. Joe's?
Yes.
Taking
Westchester
care of
St.
business.
Joe's.
Jim Belushi. I mean, the Cubs were in the World Series, although they were playing in.
So
Anaheim.
Oh, and then they're okay, go on.
my grandfather was a superintendent in Chicago public schools during that
Yeah.
time. And so he would like Chicago high school basketball
Yeah.
running the city. It's like the biggest sport in the city. And so my dad would go to all of these different games
Mhm.
and watch him. And he would hang out because in my grandfather's district was Mark Aguirre's team.
He was
My
good.
dad would like hang out with Mark Aguirre
Oh,
and
that's
became
cool.
friends with Mark Aguirre, which is dope. Just sick.
Like Mark Aguirre.
The
The Mavs and the
I
Pistons.
love God. I hate that Chicago high school basketball, and particularly public high school basketball, just doesn't have the chutzpah that it does anymore.
Ooh.
Isaiah Thomas.
Well, Jabari Parker was the last one.
I
Jabari
remember him.
Parker was the last guy.
People, no, it wasn't Jabari Parker. Was it Shaquille Okafor
Yeah, that was
that
another
took a
one.
visit to Nebraska? Like as a friend, he was with somebody else. Quick update before I ask you about one more Chicago movie.
Go ahead.
Because it's it made me very, very sad. This is from Pete Nikos of On3. Pat Kraft plans to take a couple of big swings during the hiring process. One name that he make a run at is Notre Dame's Marcus Freeman. What if we lived in a world, ladies and gentlemen, where Matt Rule and Pat Kraft have a conversation, but Matt Rule loves his alma mater so much that he doesn't want to coach there, but will help Pat Kraft find the right guy.
That's what I
for
thought
the Penn
yesterday.
State job. Just saying.
Pick his brain.
Okay, now back to another movie that made me really, really sad,
Yeah,
and it's
touch
based in Chicago.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Yes.
And I apologize on behalf of all Garys out there. We're not all like this. I love this movie because she is my hall pass.
Got you.
Jeez.
Got you.
Okay.
The Breakup.
You don't know that one?
No.
No. I mean, you knew Adventures
Jennifer
in
Aniston?
Babysitting.
Oh, I seen this
Yeah.
clip. Yes.
Vince Vaughn's first name in the movie was Gary. Okay. And you don't find a lot of Garys. We're getting extinct like the dinosaurs. Okay. I would love,
Oh, wait.
I would
can find this
love,
out.
I would love to go to Children's Hospital and stand outside of the maternity ward and just ask any loving parents who are about to bring a newborn into the world if they could just name him Gary. But it's not happening. Garys are getting fewer and fewer. And when we meet Garys, like our caller Gary, Mr. Dots,
oh my God,
battling back from some surgeries. Now he's back on the golf course, so good on him. We need more Garys. So I like the movie because I like Vince Vaughn, and I especially like Jennifer Aniston. It opens up at Wrigley Field. It's based in Chicago.
Okay.
I got a Gary, and then Gary screwed Jennifer Aniston. He was a friggin' tool in that movie, and it made me sad because he was mean to Jennifer Aniston, and it was a Gary doing that. Now, and then I was like, oh, they could get back together because they broke up, and then like they both went their separate ways, and they found happiness, and then they had a final scene where they ran into each other on the streets of Chicago, but they never got back together, and I thought there might be a breakup too, and there was never a breakup too. So I was sad. So every time I watch the movie, I don't watch the ending because it makes me sad.
But Risky Business. That's a good one for you.
Okay, wow.
Yeah.
Are you a real rom-com guy?
I like some rom and common.
Yeah.
High Fidelity.
There's a guy who's a comedian. He does a Vince Vaughn impression. Absolutely.
Yes.
It is so good.
Yeah.
It is so great. You weren't kidding. According to an analysis I've done here, Gary was a top name in the mid-1900s, reaching its peak in popularity in the 1950s. Today, it is one of the least popular names, with fewer than 500 babies named Gary in the U.S. in a single year, compared to over 38,000 in the early 50s. The decrease in usage is attributed to shifting naming trends and a general movement away from more traditional names.
Yeah.
So 10 years from now,
we
Gary
have these
McMaster.
weird names. Gary is very simple.
Despite its low popularity for new babies, the name Gary is still well known due to famous individuals like actors Gary Oldman and fictional characters like Gary the Snail from SpongeBob SquarePants.
Yes, that's how I am.
Gary Shanley.
That's how I am known, by the way, to my nieces.
Do you have a top 5 Gary?
You're Gary the Snail?
Do you have top 5 Garys?
That's awesome.
Gary Harris?
No. I don't. You know
Gary
what?
Sheffield?
Garys are
Gary
all
Sheffield.
the same. CWS or Warner Park Brian says, my dad is Gary. Good on. I like your dad. Matt drops in a couple of more Chicago movies. 8 Men Out.
Yeah.
Untouchables.
Yeah.
I'm surprised that you're not required being from Chicago.
I'm not required to
Maybe
do
you're not
anything.
from Chicago. Maybe
I
you
am
just
from
make it
Chicago.
up. Maybe just it's you're
Too late for a poll question.
I'm from Skokie.
well, you're not really from Chicago.
Yes,
That's right.
I've
You're
admitted
from
this.
you're from the white flight suburbs.
No, I'm not from the white collar suburbs. I'm from like the upper blue collar suburbs. The white collar suburbs are like Winnetka and Lake Forest and Lake Bluff and Wilmette. I'm from Skokie. It's a little bit. It's not as white collar, but it's not
Mean
blue
streets.
collar.
Mhm.
No, it's not mean streets.
You
It's
are
actually a great
from
town.
you in prison terms.
Mhm.
You are from the area of Chicago that is where Ghislaine Maxwell is.
Nice.
Right?
Nice.
Right?
Don't compare me to that person. Okay.
I'm comparing your city to where she currently is located.
You know, there's a lot of better analogies that you could make compared to like,
she was just on the news.
It's topical.
So she just was on the news, so I saw her. Well, I didn't see her, but she's being discussed.
Yeah,
Be weird if I saw her.
it would be. Have you ever seen that?
No, I've not.
A guy had no clue that Jeffrey Epstein, like, that had happened, and he was a comedian, and he was like, "Yeah, Jeff Epstein, like the mogul," and they were like, "That's all you know him for? That's all you're aware of?" And he was like, "Yeah, it was with Conan. It was in a. I have to show you the clip.
The Ravens
It was
used to have a
incredible.
play-by-play guy named Jerry Sandusky, spelled differently.
I know, that was a
Yes.
great-
Hey,
That was
and
a great E60 they did on him.
no, that was rough because when all
Yeah.
that went down,
Oh no,
people were going at him,
that
and he had to remind people, I'm
him.
I'm completely different.
they did an E60 on everything he had to go through, and it was actually a really good. I felt terrible for him.
Right.
The tweets he was getting wrong.
All right, when we return, we'll talk to Andy Kennedy from KATV. Is this the second time that a Nebraska current football coach dabbles with Penn State?
Yes. I mean,
Bo Pelini, Matt Rule.
I was going to say T.O. never dabbled with Penn State. He dabbled.
No,
with
because they had
Colorado.
Joe Paterno there at the time.
I know. He dabbled with Colorado.
Yeah, remember when Pelini in 11 was going to go to Penn State?
Wow.
Yeah. People say that Steve Sipple stopped it.
Is that what people say?
Yeah, well, I'll ask Sip on Thursday if that's true.
Did he put a halt to it all? Did you save
Si-
Pelini's
no,
career?
I think Sipple made it public or something.
And then he got a
And
call.
then he got a call. Get your ass to my office.
Yeah.
All right.
And the
We'll
car
we'll
called-
talk to
called him
AK
out.
coming up next on 1620 The Zone. All right, lots of Bears fans that are in local media. Two Chicago guys. Andy Kendi from KTV joins us. Congratulations on the Bears last night.
Yeah, karma, right?
Yeah,
Payback.
Absolutely. Hey, Andy, I got to ask you this question because Gary was a little shocked when I said this could lead off the show. How frustrating was that watch for a Bears fan? Were you frustrated during that game?
Yeah, I mean, you always think that they should be further along than they are, right?
A 1,000,000%.
It doesn't matter. It seems like it doesn't matter who you bring in as a coach. They always morph into the same team. I don't understand it, but I don't know. Hey, getting to your Gary, by the way, wasn't there a Gary in Weird Science? Weird Science, Gary.
Oh, no? Yes. By the way, aren't you from Highland Park?
No, Arlington Heights. That's
okay,
where they're going to build a new Bears stadium.
Yeah,
right?
hey,
originally from Arlington Heights.
You know,
so,
Bill.
And by the way, you know what? A fellas, Ferris Bueller's Day Off, classic Chicago movie.
Yes. Well,
Bueller.
Did you go to the track a lot growing up, Andy?
I did.
That's awesome.
I did. My dad would take us probably once or twice a year, give us our $2. Like, he would say, "Which number do you like? Which name do you like?"
Yeah.
And then he'd put $2 on it to show.
You're gonna be like William
we'd
Ott was my
We'd win our dime or whatever, win our quarter, and we thought we were on top of the world.
That's great.
Best okay, so best movie shot in Chicago, in your opinion?
Ooh.
Oh boy, man, that's a great question. I don't know. I loved Risky Business. Loved Risky Business.
That's right.
See, man.
Blues. You can't. I mean, the Blues Brothers was awesome too. My sister was an extra in Lucas. Do you remember that film? Lucas?
No. Not Bly.
She was an extra in Lucas. They filmed it in Arlington Heights.
That's incredible.
Any John Hughes movie was really filmed in that area anyway. So. But yeah, I would say Risky Business because you got to Risky Business and Blues Brothers. I like those two. Though the Untouchables, somebody brought that up, but obviously they had to do a period piece there, so all that stuff really wasn't technically, Chicago.
Hey, where were you working or at when the Bartman game happened 22 years ago today?
Oh, is that today?
Yeah.
Wow. I was in Milwaukee.
Okay.
Actually, I could tell you where I watched it at Leff's Lucky Town in Wauwatosa, Wisconsin. That's where I was.
Wow.
I was at a bar with a bunch of buddies from my station, and we could not believe. I thought, I just thought I thought the Cubs were finally gonna do it, finally gonna move on, and then that happened. Yeah, we haven't heard from that guy. At some point, he should probably resurface.
No, so he's actually, I don't know if he still is, but he was coaching high school baseball at my former high school in Niles, Illinois.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh. He doesn't want any notoriety, I'm guessing.
No, zero.
Probably
no, but he's but the reason why he's out there is he went to my high school. And I was telling Gary that my high school's colors were green. And the rumor is that he was wearing one of my high school's t-shirt under his, his getup at the game.
Well, I do know that Bartman was a very popular Halloween costume for years in the Milwaukee area, just to troll the Chicago Cubs fans.
Yes, it was. Second straight year, 5-1. Last year, Nebraska goes to Bloomington. This year, they go to Minneapolis. You could go a bunch of different ways with this question, but in your opinion, where are they much different from 5-1 last year to 5-1 this year?
Well, I think the biggest thing is that they now believe that they can win these close games, and they've proven that they can win these close games. That they have a mentality that even if they're down, that they've proven that they can come back and still come out on top and not play their perfect game to win. They just have to play good enough to win. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I do think they're advanced in the skill position areas. Quarterback obviously leading the way because he's a year better. I think they're better in the defensive backfield. Up front, I think they still need to make some improvement on both sides of the line, but I think they're getting better. And I would say this: I am obviously hindsight's 20/20, but I think this team is better suited for the second half of the season, far better suited than the one that they had last year. I think they got a little bit exposed in the second half last year, and I do think that this team is built. It's deeper, it's stronger. I think that this team is gonna if this team went 1-5 down the stretch, I'd be shocked.
Ooh.
But I would be. I would be. I think they're going to win. I would think 3-3 is the absolute minimum for this team. Like if they don't go 3-3 down the stretch, I think people would be very disappointed. Don't you?
I agree.
Without a doubt. Do you think that is because of their youth? Because they're so young that they're just bound to get better as they keep playing these games?
Well, yeah, I do. And I think that they're getting some good development. I mean, like, just Emmett Johnson. He's not young; he's a junior. But think about the strides that he's taken, and now he's the second leading rusher in the Big Ten. I mean, this guy is a urgent running. Like, this guy is fierce when he hits the hole, and he's got such wiggle, and he can break free. Now can he break away from people? That's the other question. But at least he's really proving that he can get the tough yards when it counts. And man, he does take some shots. There were some big hits going on Saturday, but he kept coming, and that's development right there, guys. Yeah. And that's what you like to see. And how many people would have thought at the beginning of the year that Isaiah Hunter would be like the go-to guy? Mm-hmm. And he's proven that he's a talent. Now people are thinking like, geez, how long are you going to be able to keep this guy after this year? Because he's so talented and proving that he's going to play at the next level someday. But yeah, I do think that the youth has something to do with it. But again, I do think the way that Matt Rule's built the program, like, let's look at the defensive backfield. Yeah, they've got some top line guys who are older, but they've got some depth and some really good young players there. And you're starting to see it with like Rex Guthrie and some of the likes in the backfield. Even Caleb Benning made a nice play on the kick return this past week. There are some guys that are going to be truly superstars in years to come that are not playing right now. And I think that's going to, assuming everything stays the same and the coaching staff stays somewhat together, I think this development is on the right track.
So PJ Fleck's been at Minnesota long enough to go through 3 different Nebraska coaches, and he's 6-1 against Nebraska. The last 3 have been 1-score games. He's a thorn in the side. We used to make fun of him, and then he just kept beating Nebraska. And we go, man, the guy can coach football. But when I say PJ Fleck to you, AK, what's something that immediately comes to mind about his program in Minnesota, where now he is the second longest tenured coach in the league?
Well, I kind of come around like a lot of people. Like, I thought this guy was super flaky and like, he was the king of the sloganeering and all this stuff. But like most people, after he's beaten up on the team that you cover for so many years, you got to tip your hat and give him some respect. I think whatever he's doing up there has worked. And even this year, I mean, you take a look at last week's game against Purdue, and they were outgained something ridiculous, like 430 to 260 in yardage, right? Mm-hmm. And yet they still came up somehow, some way, and won the game and beat Purdue. I love the fact that they do the little things right. And I think he's really structured his team to where he's put them in position to win. And this team, they score touchdowns on defense. Like, I think they've scored 3 touchdowns defensively, including one big one last week. And so and he usually builds it through the run game, though this year he hasn't done that because it looks like they passed a little bit more. But I give him all the credit in the world because he's really, at first how many people rolled your eyes when he would walk into the room, and now you kind of like, you know what? At Big Ten Media Days when he stepped up, you're like, yeah, this guy can coach. This guy's a real pain in the side of Nebraska fans. And I go back to that line in Slapshot where they're teaching the goalie how to say owns, who owns the Chiefs? And PJ Fleck owns the Huskers lately. And that's what I keep thinking about, that stupid line in that movie. But we'll see what happens this week. I think that this week, this is a different Nebraska team. And I do think the way they are situated, Nebraska is with the time frame, and this is an easy trip for people to make. It's one of the easiest trips you can make, and tickets are somewhat reasonable. I think there's going to be a lot of Husker fans here, and I don't want to downplay that at all. I think that's a big deal in games like this when you can have half the crowd or even a quarter to a third of the crowd on your side.
You're a goalie. You're supposed to be like that.
Yes.
Yeah, and then Eddie Shore sent him this guy from the Frontier League.
That's a good movie. I've seen it forever.
All right, how are you going to handle Friday night? Because it's a Nebraska game.
Yeah.
It's also a huge night of high school football here in town, including Prep and Westside.
Prep, Westside. There's some good games. I think Scott plays Bennington this week.
Yes, they do.
Yeah, that's another biggie. And God, it's just unfortunate that the timing of the Husker games goes up against all these great high school football games. But yeah, I'm going up with Ben on Thursday, and Lauren will be manning the anchor desk, and we'll get her covered. The biggest unknown is the timing of the football game. We've had 7:00 starts that get done at like 10:20. Then what do? You're kind of in no man's land,
Yeah.
So, we're going to figure something out. I think in years past, Sean and I have done like a little on the field, real quick synopsis if the game is over in time. But that's what you really have to watch out for. If the game's not over, you can't do anything,
That's true.
So it's going to be all high school football, most likely on Friday night.
All right, enjoy. Safe travels up there, and we'll see you.
Thanks, boys.
That's Andy Kennedy from KATV. All right, it's Coordinator Tuesday in Lincoln.
Yes, it is. The guys talk. The guys have been doing a great job. Can we get an Eckler, too, by the way, anytime soon?
John Butler, do you think he'll go back to Penn State?
No. Or maybe Rule goes to Penn State. He brings Butler with him. Then he brings Snow. Then he brings Dillon. Then he brings the Nebraska doesn't have football team. Close down the shop.
All right, crossovers next. See you tomorrow at 6.